Huh?
What's going on, freaks? I think an interesting show tonight. Of course, it's not the big cases that everybody keeps talking about over and over and over again. But tonight's a new night, and hopefully we can do better than we did last night. All right, so if you guys have the ability while you're watching the show to help support the channel, that would be great. Last night we made it to a one-sixth of a goal, so we're way behind yet again for the month. Let's see. Yeah, Alley Cake sent me the one on the Arcadia. I think we need to take a look at this. I mean, it's a crazy story. You know, the Arcadia mayor, Eileen Wang, has agreed to plead guilty to a federal charge of acting as an illegal foreign agent promoting Chinese propaganda, the U.S. Department of Justice announced on Monday. City officials say Wang turned in her resignation at Arcadia City Hall early Monday morning. Investigators say Wang, 58, was working with her then fiancé to run a website for Chinese Americans that was spreading propaganda from the Chinese government or the People's Republic of China. They say that instead of acting in the interest of the people who elected her, Wang acted in the interest of the People's Republic of China. Now, why are you here, chicken wings? That's ridiculous. You should go be with family. If your cousin was murdered, go. You need to go do something else. I don't know why you're in here chatting away. I don't get it. Oh boy. Chicken Wing said, I'm sorry to, Chicken Wing said, hey, my cousin was murdered today. I'm still in shock. Okay, well, be with, the family and everything and get that all worked out. I'm not sure what you're doing here in the chat here. Right, but I mean, you should be on the phone talking and, What happened there? Okay, it just seems kind of odd. Anyways, what happened? Hello? What happened, Chicken Wing? I'm not sure how we're supposed to do the show currently because everybody's going to keep asking about that over and over and over again. And I'm not sure what we're supposed to be doing here. And his mom was worried, sick, and wasn't answering any of our messages. And his grandma found him dead. Okay, how was he found dead? Did somebody shoot him, or what happened? Okay, what's his name? Is it in the paper? What's his name? Okay. Did you say the name of the person who was threatening him yesterday to his mom? Or just say, hey, like every other story. Hey, somebody's threatening me. They don't ever say the name. Sandy, what are you talking about? Just let me ask the questions. So, what's his name, Chicken Wing? Oh, Johnny Walker, of course. Okay, he doesn't show up in the media currently. What state? Yeah, West Virginia never has any coverage at all. Oh, that was today? It wouldn't be in the paper yet. Yeah, it's not going to be in the paper. Maybe tomorrow we can look at it. Why don't you say, if you find something, send it to me in the email, okay? I got to get back to what we were doing. We don't have, you weren't close to him or anything like that, but if you can find the article regarding it, usually it comes out the day after, Doesn't make the paper the first night. What do you guys want me to do here? I had a whole show planned. What are you referring about, Jim Long? Yeah, I don't want to just start that's. If you can find me links and stuff, maybe tomorrow we can go dig around in it, Chicken Wing. But sorry that happened to you. I don't know what else to tell you. You mean Johnny Walker? Oh, Johnny Walker. Yeah, I saw his name, Johnny Walker. I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah. Why did you remove the comment, Lisa? What was wrong with that? He said the Scotch. His name is Johnny Walker, yeah. Okay, what do you guys want me to get back to the cases that we were going to be doing? Because generally what happens when somebody comes into the show and says something like that, everybody starts asking question after question after question, and we never get back to what we were going to be discussed. I spent like 4 hours today putting this all together. You want to not do it, or? Now, see, look at Lucy's asking more questions. See, that's what I'm saying. It's just... Okay, she didn't mean to remove your comment, Jim. Okay, well then you should have brought, send me an email about it, Chicken Wing, instead. I mean, it's not, you weren't close to the person, so it's not like you're in this incredible, you know, like depressed. You know, if you knew him, if that was like your first cousin, somebody you hang out with all the time, you know, I could understand. No, you know, it doesn't have 2 seconds after the same day the crime occurred. It has, you know, maybe tomorrow it would have something of yesterday. But not everybody. I know there's no info. I looked too. I just looked. All right, when you guys are done talking about it, I'll start. I don't want to keep going. So keep asking your questions, and when you guys get done, let me know. I'll start doing the other cases. Right. You guys ready or? Man, I can't win for losing on this channel, man. It's just about ready to give up. It's unreal. Anyways, the Arcadia mayor, Eileen Wang, has agreed to plead guilty to a federal charge of acting as an illegal foreign agent promoting Chinese propaganda, the U.S. Department of Justice announced on Monday. Investigators say Wang, 58... Is it 58? I found another Eileen Wang that lives in the same town, but I don't know if she was 58. I think she was... No, this one says 56. Can you believe that? Another Eileen Wang in Arcadia, California. That's 56. What are the odds of that? Jesus, you gotta be kidding me. City officials say Wang turned in her... Yeah, just send me some links, Chicken Wing, and then we can look at it tomorrow and see what we can figure out. Investigators say Wang, 58, was working with her then fiance to run a website for Chinese Americans that was spreading propaganda from the Chinese government or the People's Republic of China. They say that instead of acting in the interest of the people who elected her, Wang acted in the interest of PRC. Wang agreed to plead guilty, which was, I mean, that's pretty big, I mean, already, you know, which was already agreed to last month, but was just unsealed on Monday. It's possible Wang could serve up to 10 years behind bars for acting as an illegal foreign agent. She made her first court appearance on Monday and is expected to formally plead guilty in the coming weeks. That's California for you. You know, that's just classic, just absolute garbage over there. The California mayor, who has since resigned, has been charged with acting as an illegal agent of the People's Republic of China. Eileen Wang, former mayor, former by meaning today, she resigned today, of Arcadia, California, has been charged with acting as an illegal agent of the People's Republic of China. Now, is there any chance you guys can help support the channel tonight? We're still at 0, and last night we got absolutely creamed. And is there a chance you guys can help support the channel tonight? Because right now we're at 0 again. And we're just absolutely... I don't know, man. The goals of my channel are to bring in income, to be able to support the channel, and to donate money to various true crime related charities, etc. And we're just absolutely struggling the last like 3 weeks or so. And I don't know what I did differently to deserve a different treatment by the people watching. I don't understand. I'm doing my shows. I spend hours and hours getting the stuff together. I come on, I do the shows, and it feels like it's just you guys have sort of abandon what we had been doing. So if you can please help support the channel, that would be fantastic. Federal prosecutors say Wang admitted she acted at the direction and control of Chinese government officials from at least 2020 through 2022. Hey, thanks, Alley Cake. See, Alley Cake's one of the very few that support the channel often. You know, we got other people that look and go, yeah, somebody else will do it, somebody else, and it's just really, really incredibly frustrating. Attorney General, let's see, so it says, coordinating with individuals in the U.S. to spread pro-Beijing messaging, all without notifying the U.S. Attorney General as required by law. The conduct described by prosecutors occurred before Wang took office on the Arcadia City Council in December 2022. I don't know what the hell is a Wang, a traitor, I guess, in this case. Arcadia City officials said the case is tied to Wang's individual conduct and does not impact city operations. Individuals elected to public office in the United States should act only for the people of the United States that they represent, Assistant Attorney General for National Security John Eisenberg said. So there's this PDF file. I don't know. I don't know if I want to read the whole damn thing, but you know what we could do is let's just throw this into Chat GPT and have it break it down. Hold on. Let's see. Break down this PDF file. Okay, guys, as I just said, can you please help support the channel? We have Alley Cake and Jim Lawn. Right now we're at 1/30th. You get it like a fraction with a 1 and a 30. We're below it of the nightly goal currently.
Detailed breakdown. Eileen Wang plea agreement. Illegal agent of the PRC. This 19-page plea agreement, filed in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California, outlines the terms under which Arcadia City Council member Eileen Wang agrees to plead guilty to acting in the United States as an illegal agent of the People's Republic of China without notifying the U.S. Attorney General in violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 951. Eileen Wang, Plea Agreement E. Executive Summary. This is a highly significant federal national security case. According to the factual basis in the plea agreement, Eileen Wang knowingly acted in the United States at the direction and control of officials of the PRC. She operated a Chinese-language website and cultural center in Los Angeles County. PRC officials sent her propaganda and directed her to publish and edit articles favorable to China. She deleted references to private companies at the request of PRC officials. She posted content intended to influence Chinese-American communities in Southern California. She coordinated through encrypted WeChat group chats. She later ran for Arcadia City Council and was elected in November 2022. She never notified the U.S. Attorney General that she was acting as an agent of the PRC. In short, the federal government alleges, and Wang...
I don't really understand. So if you would notify him and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to be an agent for the PRC, then it's okay. That's ridiculous.
Admits that she functioned as an undeclared propaganda and influence operative for the Chinese government inside the United States. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Charge and maximum penalties. Wang pleads guilty to 1 felony count. Acting in the United States as an agent of a foreign government without prior notification to the Attorney General. Under 18 U.S.C. Section 951. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Maximum statutory penalties. Up to 10 years in federal prison. Up to 3 years supervised release. Fine up to $250,000 or twice the gain loss. Mandatory special assessment of $100. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Why this case is so serious? Section 951 is not the typical lobbying statute, such as FARA. It is a criminal national security statute, often used when a person acts under the direction or control of a foreign government. The government does not need to prove traditional espionage or classified information theft. The core issue is whether the defendant knowingly operated under foreign government direction without informing the U.S. government. This plea agreement establishes that Wang admits she was directed by
don't know,
officials of the
Joel.
PRC while living in California. Eileen Wang plea.
I don't know if it's a good show or not. It's just every show seems to be a struggle these days. You know, I try to put out, like last night's show I thought was really interesting. One of the worst performing shows of like ever.
Eileen Wang
So I don't
plea
know. I
agreement.
don't know what to tell you.
Ill. Detailed factual basis.
But thank you.
Pages 6 to 8. Time period. The admitted conduct began in late 2020 and continued through at least 2023 in Los Angeles County. Eileen Wang plea agreement illy. Wang's media platform. Wang operated Us News Center, a website and
US.
online platform, a cultural center serving the Chinese American community in Southern California. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Compensation. She and her son received and executed directives from PRC officials concerning what content should be posted. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill.
Well,
The
how much
agreement
did she
does not
get?
specify exact amounts of payment, but confirms she and her son carried out official directives. Examples of direct PRC control. June 10th, 2021. Xinjiang propaganda article. A PRC official sent Wang a link to an article with the title, PRC Consul General publishes an essay on the New York Times explaining China's stance on the Xinjiang issue. There is no genocide in Xinjiang. There is no forced labor. Wang posted the article on her website and responded in
Thanks,
the group
Sandy.
chat. Received. The PRC official later thanked the participants, and Wang replied, Great. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. August 20th, 2021. Article editing instructions. PRC officials instructed Wang to edit an article, delete references to a specific private company, republish the revised article, send back the updated link. Wang complied and replied, removed. The PRC official responded with celebratory emojis. Eileen Wang plea agreement E. November 27th, 2021. Anti-U.S. Democracy article. A PRC official sent Wang an article titled Chinese and Russian ambassadors to the U.S. jointly signed an article, Respect the People's Democratic Rights, published in the national interest. Wang was instructed to send it to younger audiences and to disseminate it in Chinese. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Concealment. The plea agreement states that Wang never disclosed on her website that some content was posted at the direction of the PRC, never notified the U.S. Attorney General that she was acting as an agent of the PRC before,
But what if she
during,
did?
or after these activities.
That's ridiculous.
Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. This is the essential criminal element of the offense. Political career connection. In 2022, Wang ran for the Arcadia City Council. The 5-member council rotates the mayor position. Wang was elected on November 8th, 2022. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. The plea agreement does not allege that her campaign itself was directed by the PRC, but the timing is striking because the admitted foreign agent conduct overlapped with her successful local political campaign. Sentencing guidelines. The parties agree there is no directly applicable sentencing guideline, so the court will sentence primarily under the broader statutory sentencing factors in 18 U.S.C. Section 3553. A. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. This gives the judge substantial discretion. Government concessions. If Wang fully cooperates, accepts responsibility, complies with all terms, the government will recommend a reduction for acceptance of responsibility under the sentencing guidelines. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. The government also agrees not to pursue certain related criminal charges based on the same conduct. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Rights waived by the defendant. By pleading guilty, Wang waives right to trial by jury, right to confront witnesses, right to testify or remain silent, most rights to appeal, most rights to challenge the conviction later through habeas or collateral attack. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Immigration consequences. If Wang is not a U.S. citizen, she acknowledges that the conviction could result in removal, deportation, denial of naturalization, denial of future admission to the United States. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Signatures and dates. The plea agreement was signed by Assistant U.S. Attorney Amanda Elbogen, by Eileen
That's
Wang,
allocated.
by Defense Attorney Brian Sun, on March 30th to May 31st, 2026. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. The agreement also includes certifications by Wang, and an interpreter confirming the document was translated into Mandarin Chinese and fully understood. Eileen Wang plea agreement ill. Most significant takeaways. 1. Direct admission of acting under PRC direction. 1.
Whoa, hey, wow, look at that. Phyllis Watson. It's a miracle, everybody. Yesterday, the show brought in $47 on the live stream, and we got absolutely killed. And tonight we were at like 20 or 30, and then we just got 20 gifted memberships. So that right there doubled yesterday's entire show. I mean, unbelievable. Thank you. So why doesn't somebody else do a challenge or something in there? That'd be awesome. Let's get a challenge going. We haven't had one of those in a couple days, and that would be awesome. Somebody else. And hopefully Wild Bill Wassman's out of his... I think he got out of the hospital. That's what he was supposed to be, like yesterday, I think. Hopefully he's out of there. Probably out getting scouting out some bass fishing locations. Hey, look at that. Joel Burnt's going to do a 5 for 5-er, you guys. So if 5 individuals donate 1 channel membership, he will donate 5 all by himself. So that's a 2 for 1 support on your end. So if you guys just do 1, 5 of you do 1, he'll donate 5 or by himself. How's that sound? That'd be great. And by the way, how about I was going to do tonight, if we get to 350 total, you know, on YouTube, then I'll donate $500 to Rain, or not Rain, $500 to our scholarship funded Bold. And, you know, we were going to do that, like, I think a few days ago, but it was so horrible, I just couldn't do it. So what do you guys think of that? Yeah, because remember Elaine Talling, her husband, David, I think it's Gilson, he passed away, and he was a freak, I guess, you know, through osmosis, or whatever you want to call it. And I guess if we get there, you know, get to 350, I'll donate 500, because 350 only brings in what is it? Like 240 or so. All right, so I'll be donating 260 on my end. But can we get to this challenge going here, you guys? We need 4 more people to donate 1 channel membership to reach Joel Burnt's challenge. This is what I'm saying, you guys. It's just what is going on. It was so great. We were, donated $295,000, and all of a sudden, it's really getting difficult for me. If we don't get to 350, then we'll just have to put it off for another day. But what I'd like to get is the other 4 of the challenge that Phyllis Watson, after donating 20, just did another one by herself to be part of the challenge, and not another soul jumped in there. All right? So let's see if we can do that.
Wong explicitly admits she acted at the direction and control of PRC officials. 2. Propaganda dissemination. The conduct focused on spreading messaging about Xinjiang democracy and Chinese government positions. 3. Encrypted communications. Coordination occurred over WeChat group chats and private messages. 4.
It's just crazy.
Editing content on command. Officials instructed Wang to modify and republish articles showing operational control. 5. Concurrent political office. The admitted conduct overlapped with her election to public office in California. 6. National security implications. This case illustrates a concrete example of alleged foreign influence at the local government
don't worry
level.
about Chicken
Overall
Wing. Just
interpretation.
call
This
your
plea
family
agreement is
up and send
extraordinary
me some
because it
articles.
contains an explicit confession that a sitting local elected official in California operated as an undeclared agent of the Chinese government for several years. The factual basis portrays Wang not as an independent commentator who merely shared favorable views about China, but as someone who received instructions from PRC officials. Published state-directed propaganda. This plea agreement is extraordinary because it contains an explicit confession that a sitting local elected official in California operated as an undeclared agent of the Chinese government for several years. The factual basis portrays Wang not as an independent commentator who merely shared favorable views about China, but as someone who received instructions from PRC officials. Published state-directed propaganda, edited content at their request, and concealed the relationship from U.S. authorities. Although the case does not allege espionage or theft of classified information, it demonstrates how foreign governments can attempt to shape public opinion and potentially cultivate influence within local political systems. For anyone studying foreign interference, this is a rare and highly detailed public admission of how such influence operations can function in practice. Eileen Wang, Plea.
That's crazy, man. So there you have it. You know, just absolutely, you know, working on behalf of... I just don't understand the part about she did it without telling the government. So let's see, if Eileen Wang, the Arcadia mayor, went up to the federal government and said, hey, listen, I'm going to be doing some propaganda for the PRC, the People's Republic of China. Is that okay? Sure, yes, thank you for telling us. At least you told us, you know, now you're not in trouble. But if you do it without telling us, then by God, you're... I mean, I don't really understand that at all. All right, we need 2 more gifted memberships or 2 $5 super chats. You could, Chicken Wing. I'm just trying to do our show tonight, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. It's just, it's one of those things that's too big to handle just sort of in the comment section of a show, Chicken Wing. You know what I mean? So if you get some articles and so forth, send them over. And maybe you can come on. We can, you know, work through the case or whatever. I'm not sure how much. What's that worth, Timothy Cecil? 1,000 joules. Isn't that 500 pennies? Yeah, so that's what, $5, right? Is that $5? Okay, because that could be one. Is that $5? See, Timothy? That's what I mean. I don't have any idea what those things, how this works. So we need 2 more gifted memberships, you guys, and then, you know, you don't want the person to fall asleep, Joel Burnt, who is just waiting for the other 2 to come in so he can help support the channel also, again. Yeah, I had a girlfriend that was Chinese all the way back in... I kind of met her around the time my brother died. That's $5, okay. But what's the struggle tonight? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Why is it so hard to reach these little challenges now? Remember how it used to just be like, bing, 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 everybody just, okay, here we go. I'm just waiting for it to get the last challenge in there so we can move on. Yeah, he says, I get up early soon to bed. Come on, freaks, he said. Joel Burnt. We need 1 more gifted membership by somebody. And see, Joel Burnt just sent it in, and nobody's going to do the one that they didn't do. But thanks anyways, Joel. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing that. I'm sorry that we were so lame that we couldn't get the 5th one in there. And welcome all the new members there. Yeah, there was no... we didn't get the 5th one. All right, now I'm switching over to, I think I'll do these in the order that I had them. So this is, I believe this one's like a Native American case. All right, it's pretty interesting. Again, these are cold cases here. And if you're not interested, you're just not interested. You're probably not really a true crime person. You're just sort of one case type. But thank you, Joel Burnt. That was nice of you. Thanks. So this is in Omaha, Nebraska, back in 1984. Right, they're everybody's favorite, but nobody supports the channel during the cold cases. So hopefully we can, you know, like, notice how hard it was. We never even got to the 5th super chat on Joel Burnt's challenge. That's crazy. Douglas County Sheriff investigators Monday used tattoos and fingerprints to identify the crushed body of a young woman near a road north of... Hey, there you go. We can pretend. There it is. Wild Bill Wassman after the fact. And by the way, are you out of the hospital now? You are, right? I think you were yesterday, you said. Captain Tim Dempsey said investigators were operating on the theory the death of Michelle Lamere, 21, of Omaha, was a homicide. It appears she was intentionally run over, Dempsey said. The body, clad in a blouse, blue jeans, and brown casual shoes, was found in low weeds and grass on the shoulder of Shangaska Road. Let's see. Maybe, I think I have this in here. Okay, let's see. Is that where? No, that's a different case. Believe it or not. Let's see. Shangaska. That's what I didn't have yet, the precise. There we go. Shangaska Road. Oh, you're still there. Wow, I thought you were already out of there. Okay, Shangaska Road. How come that's not in there? Maybe they've changed that name. Oh, there it is. How come that showed up in there, but then it doesn't go to it? Ridiculous. SHONGASKA. It even says right there. And then when you try to go to it, it doesn't seem to want to go there. I mean, this is the park here. Maybe they're spelling it wrong. No, it's there. Huh. Oh, it's right there, maybe? It could be right there. Let me just... Okay, I looked it up on Google. Yeah. It's that. This is it right here. This is Shangaska Road. Did they spell it wrong, or? Oh no, that's not. That isn't it. God, it looks just like it. It has the same shape. It is next to this river, though. I think there it is, right here. There it is, that road. Shangaska Road. And then it said north of Hummel Park. So if you, I guess if you're on Shangaska Road, and then here's Hummel Park. So her body was found somewhere up in here somewhere. All right, there we go. I just had the Hummel Park area, but there's no Shangaska Road down here. It's just right there. All right, there we go. It appears she was dead 2 or 3 hours before her body was found, Dempsey said. Now, there was no identification on the body. It appeared she was dead 2 to 3 hours before her body was found. She was run over pretty good. And that's her right there. You can tell she's Native American. It says Michelle Lamere was... So this will tell you the whole sort of victimology here. It's pretty interesting. All right, it says Michelle Lamere was a wisp of a woman and a thin 21-year-old who was a fixture in the bars and the street corners near 24th and Leavenworth Street. Yeah, so, I mean, she's obviously a sex worker of some sort. And then this is where, right here is where she would be, and you can tell this is absolutely what this area would be. You can't see anybody standing there currently, but I mean, look at this. You know, that's just, you know, where somebody might be a streetwalker back then. I don't know what, you know, it looks like it's just an absolutely dead part of town. Now, this is, again, this is back in 1984, so, but that's where she was walking around. It says during the day she stayed with a 63-year-old man who gave her food in exchange for sex, but kicked her out in the evenings because he thought she would steal from him while he was asleep. Jesus. At night, Mrs. Lamere, known to most as Mickey, went to bars and wandered on the streets according to those who knew her. Sometimes she was picked up by police for minor crimes. Other times, relatives say she was picked up by a variety of men. She was poor and she knew it, said Tony Anania, as in a none of your business. Come on, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Anania. Jeez. Hey, thanks, Randizzle Randy and Alley Cake. Tony Anania, the man she had been living with. Okay, she was poor and she knew it, said Tony Anania. That's the guy that only let her stay during the day. The man she had been living with. She'd do anything for a buck, said Douglas County Sheriff Captain Tim Dempsey. She was a street person. She lived day to day. Thanks, Allie K. Early Monday morning, that lifestyle ended on a dark rural road miles from Miss Lamere's usual haunts. Someone ran over Mickey Lamere with a car, crushing her body and leaving her to bleed to death on the shoulder of Shangaska Road. Here, let's take a look at what it looks like there. So I always like doing this because when you're done with the case, you feel like you've seen everything. You've just seen where she was a streetwalker. Right here is where she, right along this area right here, is where her body was found. Kind of a secluded place. It's probably, if anything, it was even more secluded looking than this, if you can believe that. I mean, because this is 2019, and this happened in 1984. So, you know, right around somewhere along this area, right in here, her body was found crushed by a vehicle. All right, then it said, no suspects or motive. Early Monday morning, that lifestyle ended on a dark rural road miles from Miss Lamere's usual haunts. Someone ran over Mickey Lamere with a car, crushing her body and leaving her to bleed to death on the shoulder of Shangaska Road. An autopsy performed, thanks Wild Bill Wassman, an autopsy performed Tuesday indicated that Miss Lamere suffered internal injuries, including a lacerated liver and spleen, authorities said. Dempsey said there are no solid suspects. and no known motive in the slaying. Investigators are tracking down relatives and friends to learn more of Miss Lamere and her recent activities. Miss Lamere, who as a child moved to Omaha from Winnebago Indian Reservation, had no job, investigators and family members said. She sometimes stayed with her mother, Matilda Woods, in an apartment at 2215 Howard Street. So every once in a while, she would stay at Matilda's house, which is very close to where she was a streetwalker. So she would stay here in this apartment complex with her mother, Matilda. Just not really a high-end facility here. Yeah, so right in there. Do you guys, is this interesting a little bit to you guys? I think it's pretty good. I'm watching from the beginning. Well, the beginning was crazy, Randizzle Randy. Let's see. There are no solid suspects. Miss Lamere, who was a child. Okay, so she stayed with her mother at 2215 Howard Street. Thank you, Phyllis Watson. For the past 6 weeks, however, she had been staying with Tony Ananya during daytime hours at least. She'd sleep during the day. I fed her, but she went out on her own, Ananya said. Ananya was one of the last people to see, I think, was it Ananya? Wait, who's Ananya again? Where was that? Oh, right there. Tony Ananya, that's the guy that she was with. For the past 6 weeks, however, she had been staying with Tony Ananya, not her mother, during daytime hours at least. So maybe she did go back to her mother's house. Who knows? Or she stayed with some of the Johns. Who the hell knows? She'd sleep during the day. I fed her, but she went out on her own, Ananya said. Ananya was one of the last people to see Miss Lamere alive. He said she left his apartment at about 6 p.m. I thought she'd come back Monday about noon like she usually did, he said. Sheriff Lieutenant Robert Tramp said lawmen have learned that she later was seen at several places during the evening in the area of 24th and Leavenworth Streets. She was alone at the time, he said. And then here it says she stole. Ananya said it wasn't unusual for Miss Lamere to go out at night, often to meet other men. She whored around. That's the term he said. She whored around. She'd go with anybody, he said. It didn't bother me because I'm 63 and she's 21. She whored around with me too. I mean, this guy, gee, what a piece of work this guy is, huh? Ananya said he wanted her out of the house at night. Let's see, she stole off of me, he said. I couldn't take a chance. In late May, Miss Lamere served a 3-day jail term in lieu of paying $71 worth of fines and court costs after stealing $90 from Ananya. Ananya said he got all but $6 back. This guy's a loser, man. He let Miss Lamere stay with him again after she got out of jail. So he got her to... He had her arrested for stealing $90 from him, and then he got back 84 of it, and then he lets her stay there again. That's crazy. He let Miss Lamere stay with him again after she got out of jail, but from that point on, he had said he made her leave his apartment by 9:30 p.m. when he went to bed. So when he went to bed, he goes, okay, you got to go, and then he'd lock the door. Miss Lamere was a familiar figure in the 24th and Leavenworth area. One relative said her thin outline, usually clad in blue jeans, a white lace trim cotton blouse, and brown suede shoes was instantly recognizable. When she was out on the street, Miss Lamere gravitated to a variety of men, some older, some younger. She always got into cars with somebody, the relatives said. Investigators said it would be speculative to say that she was a prostitute. Criminal records show that Miss Lamere was never arrested for prostitution. I think it's kind of obvious. She just was never arrested. However, she was no stranger to police or jailers. County jail records show 15 jail sentences for misdemeanors, offenses dating back to 1981, most for petty theft or for inhaling toxic substances such as fumes or glue or paint. A lot of mail. When she wasn't in jail, Miss Lamere stopped by the American Indian Center at 613 16th Street every day to see if she had any mail. And that's just right over here. So all of this, her mother lived there. She would walk down up and down the streets right there. And then that Indian Center, American Indian Center, is right, well, it was right there. I mean, look at this whole area just is dead. Now, anyways. I mean, this is just, I mean, isn't that incredible? That there's like whole city areas and blocks that are, they're not even really inhabited. I mean, there might be somebody in there. I don't know. It just looks desolate. Nothing. I mean, there's cars parked around, so I don't know. Especially over on that street where she was walking. These buildings look like, I mean, again, there's cars, but it looks just broken down. But hey, guys, if you're out there, if you could help support the channel, we're about halfway to the challenge I put out there. If we get to 350, I'll donate $500 to the scholarship fund that we have set up for students in the criminal justice arena. All right? But we have to get to that number. No, wait, I don't think I finished this. All right, but once in a while, she talked with Ellen Cunningham, the Center Social Service Coordinator. She asked general questions about counseling and other services, but she never told anyone much about her life. Miss Cunningham suspected that the young woman had personal problems that she was trying to resolve, but when she probed for more information, she said Miss Lamere would stop me before I'd get that far. She would just suggest and talk about it in a roundabout way. Miss Lamere never stayed much more than 5 minutes and never got involved in counseling session. As far as going through with it, it never happened, said Miss Cunningham. Maybe she just needed someone to talk to. Maybe it was her way of reaching out without committing herself. But Miss Lamere apparently had friends, she said. They never accompanied her into the center's administrative office when she came for her mail, but they apparently waited outside for her. When I looked out the window, I'd see her walking down the street with whoever Miss Cunningham said. In addition, she said Miss Lamere seemed to have a lot of mail sent to her in the center. Douglas County Lieutenant Tramp said that isn't surprising. She has a large family and they're all over the place, he said. I'm sure she had, she has had out-of-town friends, lots of them. And that here it says, John Decora, Tribal Funeral Home Director in Winnebago, Nebraska, said that Miss Lamere's family moved to Omaha when she was about 6 years old, but that she attended boarding school through 8th grade at St. Augustine's Indian Mission in Winnebago. After that, her high school attendance in Omaha was spotty. In recent years, he said she traveled to visit people in Sioux City, Iowa area, but rarely returned to Winnebago. Miss Lamere had 2 children. Wow, that's crazy. Stephanie, 3, and Dustin, 14. What? Woman in thin 20. She's 21 years old. Let's see. Wait, was that the mother? Hold on a second. How could she have a kid? Oh, 14 months. I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? She's only 21 years old. Man, isn't that crazy? So Miss Lamere had 2 children, Stephanie 3 and Dustin 14 months, born out of wedlock and living with her father and his relatives. Miss Lamere was about 5'6" and weighed 95 to 100 pounds. She had 3 small tattoos, an arrow and dot on her left middle finger, 2 letters on her left hand by her thumb, and a small heart just above her left ankle. Besides her mother, survivors include 4 brothers, Larry, Woods, and Frank Lamere of Sioux. Just goes through a whole bunch of people there. All right, he's going to do another challenge, you guys. We're on one of those massive lulls where it makes it really hard. Massive lull. Last night, all it was a lull. The entire night. Like 2 hours in a row were just a lull. Information sought on woman slaying. Omaha, let's see, is offering $1,000. Let's see. The investigator said Miss Lamere was seen at about 9:30, July 8th in Hummel Park. So she was actually at the park with a man who was driving a car described as either a 1971 or 72 blue Plymouth Duster or 1975 or 76 Dodge Dart. The driver was described as a white man in his mid to late 20s with a full beard and mustache and dishwater blonde hair, whatever the hell that means. Shortly before dishwater, does anybody know what color? I mean, I've seen a dishwater look red. I've seen it look purple. I've seen it look, what the hell is dishwater blonde? Shortly before midnight, July 8th, investigators said Miss Lamere was seen near 22nd and Leavenworth Street, standing next to an old model dark-colored pickup truck with homemade in-transit stickers behind the driver's seat. The man in the truck was described as white, aged 25 to 30, with a scraggly beard and mustache. He was about 5 feet 8 inches and had dark brown hair, investigators said. So there's 2 different individuals, One drove a pickup truck. The one in the park is the most... That one seems like I would be focusing in on the Dodge Dart, because the park is right here. And you could see something going wrong, and then the person dumping her body right there and getting the hell out of there. Right? So the person that was in the truck, unless that was a place she would always take her Johns or whatever, so it could be that the guy on Leavenworth over here in the pickup truck also, would have taken her there, because that's where she would take people to sort of park and be away from downtown. It's 1984. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. All right, you guys. We need some a challenge going on. Yeah. All right, here's another one. Crime Stoppers is offering $1,000. Miss Lamere was also seen just before midnight, July 8th, and 22nd and Leavenworth Street, standing next to an older model dark-colored pickup truck with homemade in-transit stickers. The man in the pickup was described. See, I think it's more of this first one. Douglas County Sheriff investigators said Miss Lamere was seen in Hummel Park at 9:30 p.m. Well, no, wait a minute. Because if she's in the park at 9:30, then she must have been dropped off back. Okay, wow, that's interesting. Because it's the same day at midnight she's over back on Leavenworth and 22nd. So that means the one that seems more likely at the park is less likely now, because so that might just be, like I was saying, the place that she would take the Johns, right? Because see, this one's at 9:30. She's at that very same park with the Plymouth and everything, but that's at 9:30. Then it says was seen just before midnight on July 8th. Also, so later, that means, 2 hours later or so, she's seen back again on Leavenworth, but now she's talking to somebody in a dark-colored pickup truck. So now it seems more likely that scenario that I was telling you about, that, in this case, it's probably going to be the pickup truck guy, and then that park is just where she would take people. Me? I don't know, 19 maybe? Jeffrey? Alright guys, can you please help support the channel tonight? We got absolutely killed yesterday, didn't even come close. We wouldn't be even close tonight really at all if it wasn't for Phyllis Watson's generous 20 gifted memberships. So if the rest of you could somehow figure a way to help support the channel, because my channel relies on you guys to support the channel, allows us to do all the stuff that we do in terms of, the $295,000 that we've donated over the last 6.5 years. So if you have the ability to, I would appreciate it. I wish I could figure out a way to just, I don't have any other way, you guys. This is just it. Okay, my videos, even though they're better than everybody else's video, factually put together, they don't get viewed, So I need your guys' support when we're doing these shows. That's if you want to keep doing what we've been doing. Thank you, Jeffrey Siddall. Yeah. Okay, so I just think that's a place that she would take her Johns. And then she showed up in this article. Now, in this article here, it mentioned 2 other cases. This one here was solved. This one is not. I just saw it sitting there, and I go, let me look this one up. That one's incredibly interesting. So after we do this case, we'll go to that one right there, Ricky Chadek. He's also in the title. Also from the same area. 1986. It says Frank Lamere, executive. So her brother actually was like, pretty high up in the Indian affairs stuff. It says Frank Lamere, that's her brother, executive director of the Nebraska Indian Intertribal Development Corps, said he thinks every day about his sister Michelle Lamere. She was killed north of Omaha in 1984. We still are deeply saddened, frustrated, and angry that we were never able to reach a resolution in that case, and that we can now only rely on the Creator and the hopes that He will take care of everything, Lamere said. We have resigned ourselves to the fact that we may never find the murderer, and you cannot know how frustrating that is to her brother and sisters, and especially to her mother. So then that was 1993, that one. Is anybody hearing what I'm saying, you guys? We need your guys' support on the show. Give some channel memberships. Do a challenge. All right, so this is, this article here is from February of this year. After 1993, wasn't much about. Let's see what they're saying now. Early in the summer of 1984, 21-year-old Michelle Lamere visited her sister. This is by Dan Chrysler of the Omaha World Herald. Visited her sister Jackie Lamere Wolf in Sioux City, Iowa. The two sisters, who were only 1 year apart, spent the entirety of Lamere's visit laughing and joking, just like when they were kids growing up on the Winnebago reservation. Lamere, who was adept at teasing those around her, was also a kind person who was valued mother, sister, niece, and friend, Lamere Wolf said Friday. She was a loving person, Lamere Wolf said, at the Nebraska Urban Indian Health Coalition in South Omaha. Lamere's visit to Sioux City turned out to be the last time the sisters saw each other. A little more than a month later, on the night of July 9th, 1984, she was killed by a car in the wooded Ponca Hills area just north of Omaha. Seems like I'm missing an article. Is it this one? Oh yeah, so that's the Frank Lamere. This one's also right around the time she went missing. It says Miss Lamere's body, which was run over by a car on a road north of Omaha, was found the morning of July 9th. It seems like slain woman's brother wraps newspaper story. So I guess he's sort of like probably going to talk against how that last article sounded. Yeah. I don't know, it's kind of too late to go back to that one. Alright guys, if you can please help support the channel, we need to get a challenge going. We're currently, even just the way it is right now, we're only at 65% of just a basic goal in here. We're not even there yet. She was a loving person, Lamere Wolf said at the Nebraska Urban Indian Health Coalition. Lamere's visit to Sioux City turned out to be the last time the sisters saw each other. A little more than a month later, on the night of July 9th, 1984, she was killed by a car in the wooded Ponca Hills area just north of Omaha. A jogger discovered her body the next morning, roughly around 32nd Avenue. Let's see. 32nd, roughly around 32nd. I don't know. There's no numbers like that. It's Ponca Road. That's that one. How about like 30? How about 320? Does that work? Or is it 3200? Oh yeah. Yeah, so that would probably be it. 3200 area. So roughly around there. Is anybody not hearing what I'm saying? It's getting really, 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 really frustrating. Yeah, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office ruled Lamere's death a homicide. Her killer has not been found. It says a jogger discovered her at 32nd Avenue. Let's see. To this day, that is an area marked with a dead end roads. Let's see. I mean, some of these are dead ends. I mean, this whole road is a dead end. I mean, but maybe they're talking about inside of there. Can you go in there? No. Yeah, really kind of, even Google Earth stops. Like right here, you know. It doesn't go any, right here it turns around for some reason. I don't know where 32nd Avenue is. Isn't that picture is creepy as hell, isn't it? I don't know why. That just seems really creepy. I mean, that's just sort of a random person out there. Wow, I might have to take that picture of that. It's crazy. Anyway, so somewhere out here. Now more than 30 years later, Lamere was killed. Deputy Colin Driscoll believes the sheriff's office is going in the right direction. Wow. So like this is 2 months ago. In narrowing down suspects in Lamere's death. Hey, thanks Allie Cake, Wild Bill Wassman, and Phyllis Watson. The same people again. Thank you guys. It'd sure be nice if other people would help. Let's see. Driscoll, a 5-year veteran with the sheriff's office, has been investigating Lamere's death since last fall as part of the sheriff's office initiative to re-examine 20 cold cases, including about 10 unsolved homicides. Driscoll last week said he became interested in trying to solve Lamere's death after hearing from the Native American community that Lamere's killing wasn't thoroughly investigated. I took that as a challenge as an investigator. That's probably him right there. As an investigator, to drive into the case a little bit closer, he said. I saw there were definitely some leads that could have been followed today in 2026. 2 days after Lamere was killed, the World Herald portrayed her as an unflattering light in a story published on July 11th. That's the one we read. The story's headline described Lamere as a streetwise woman. The story itself extensively quoted a 63-year-old man who said Lamere, I think that guy seemed kind of suspicious, didn't you? Who said Lamere sometimes stayed with him. The man used crude and misogynistic language to describe Lamere. See, I thought that was really odd, too. The story itself painted Lamere as a promiscuous and petty criminal, referencing her past run-ins with law enforcement and the court system that do not appear to be related to her death. About a week after the story was published, Lamere's brother, the late Frank Lamere, a Native American activist who later became a leading figure in the Nebraska Democratic Party, denounced the story. Hey, isn't that weird? I have both of those stories. Denounced the story depicting of his sister. He said, the World Herald reported on July 19, 1984, that many Native Americans and others around Omaha and northeast Nebraska were appalled, sickened, and outraged by the story. Although Michelle Lamere, who was known as Mickey, had her problems with addiction, those problems were not unique to her, Frank Lamere noted. Yeah, I mean, I didn't read the story of them indicting Native Americans or anything. That negative one. It was just went over some weird, that's just, that's what he's trying to imply. I didn't catch that at all. But she always had a good word for everyone. She did not deserve what happened to her, Frank Lamere, who died in 2019, said at the time. Wow, he died too, huh? Lamere added that the story reinforced dangerous media portrayals of marginalized people. That is a true... That part is sort of why they don't get covered very much. That's why, people want them to be called sex workers instead of hookers and things like that. Lamere added the story reinforced dangerous media portrayals of marginalized people and would embolden criminals to target them. Well, that is exactly what happens. Sex workers are targeted knowing that the enthusiasm for investigating it isn't nearly as high, and they are, they are, sex workers are the only people that really still get into people's cars without knowing the person. I mean, there are still very few hitchhikers. I rarely see any anymore. Let's see. Lamere added the story reinforced dangerous media portrayals of marginalized people and would embolden criminals to target them. To this day, the pain caused by the initial story published in the World Herald lingers among Lamere's family and friends. I'm not sure what was, they're not saying it wasn't true. But here's the thing. I guess what you'd say is, what's the point of having an article like that? You're sort of making it like, yeah, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't look into this one. She's not at all what the article made her out to be. Yeah, I mean, but I bet you she did those things, but her personality was better. You know, she was probably a nice person and everything. Thanks to technological advances, Driscoll believes the sheriff's office may be closer than ever to solving her death, though he was careful to not overpromise. I have a lot of leads that I still want to follow, Driscoll said. I still think we're a little bit of time away from a breakthrough, but we're going in the right direction. Of particular interest to Driscoll are the potential DNA samples on the clothing Lamere was wearing when she was killed. Well, there you go. That'd be pretty big. Although that is a problem with sex workers, though. You know, she was with somebody earlier in the evening at 9:30, and then she was with somebody at around, you know, talking to some guy at midnight. I mean, who knows which one? I guess it's a way to eliminate somebody, though. Lamere was found fully clothed, wearing, among other items, a Spanish-style blouse, blue jeans, and suede shoes. Driscoll said he wants to submit Lamere's clothing for testing. Results from those DNA tests could come as soon as next week or two. Wonder what they got on that. Driscoll also plans to re-examine Lamere's autopsy, which reported she wasn't physically assaulted before she was killed. However, Driscoll said some photos show bruising on Lamere's neck. The reports don't indicate she was strangled, and I see no mention of strangle, but some of those marks tend to make me reevaluate that, he said. I mean, how did she get on the ground to be run over? I guess that would be something to figure out. Driscoll said there is also evidence Lamere was pregnant at the time. Wow, so that's true. If she was pregnant at the time, you might be looking at that other guy, the 63-year-old. What was his name? He's in the other article, the 63-year-old that she was staying with. What if he found out she was pregnant and then sort of picked her up and then did something? Because it'd be really unlikely that a John would give a damn if she was pregnant or not. But somebody that you see daily and you find out about it, then that might, 63-year-old, he's trying to retire. Now he thinks since she does steal, like maybe she's going to try to get, child support from him, and then he does something to her. That kind of almost makes sense as to a motive. All right, guys, we are at 209 currently. So we're trying to get to 350, and then I'll donate $500. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Let's see. I don't know. It sounds like... Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know. Lisa Belson just sent me an email. I guess Jay for Justice is always attacking me now too. She loves the troll channel that attacks me all the time. Yeah, she's never done a damn thing of use for anybody in the true crime community. Never helped Never donated any of her own money to help anything. She's just a horrible person who, that's what her whole life is based on. Just being a shitty person. Hey, thanks, Skeeters. All right, appreciate it. God, she's such a pathetic person. Okay. What did it say? The infant in utero would have been Lamere's third child. Driscoll said there is also evidence Lamere was pregnant. That makes that sort of interesting. The infant in utero would have been Lamere's third child when she died. Her daughter Stephanie was 3 years old and her son Dustin was 14 months old. Wolf said Stephanie lives in Oklahoma and is now a grandmother. Many people who would be persons of interest, including, hey, wow, thanks, Lisa Belson. I haven't had time to look at the email. But yeah, that loser YouTuber, I mean, you know, the thing is it has been harder on my channel to reach the goals and, you know, and a lot of it's because of them. And then it gets harder and harder and harder for me. And then it's more and more frustrating. And they feed off of that shit. So, you know, I don't know how else to do it other than to say, hey, you guys, if you have the ability to help support the channel and try to do something. Because my channel's made a huge difference over the years. Massive. You know, we're talking almost $300,000 to, you know, over $100,000 combined to Texas EquuSearch, RAIN, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And yes, there's nights I get frustrated. I don't understand, you know, like yesterday. I mean, what an absolute embarrassment. And, you know, so this stupid dipshit J is for Justice, really an absolute moron, a really dumb person technically. Like literally if you were going to do a study, she's one of the dumbest people you've ever seen. And what she does is she can't create her own content. She can't figure anything out. So all she does is take other people's work, or if there's something sensationalistic, she attacks those people because it's cool. You know, her and I have really never gotten along because of just how unethical she is as a YouTuber. She's one of the most unethical people there ever was. In the Heidi Broussard case, she was accusing, just like she always does, accusing the father of the child over and over and over and over again. It was endless, a barrage. Every second of every day she would attack the father. And then she had these panels on there, and somebody on the panel goes, oh my God, they've arrested the friend of Heidi. And then they went, oh, and then it broke the news. And she claimed all the credit for it, like she's the one who broke the news. No, some idiot, some person on the panel, and all she was doing was accusing the wrong person the whole time. Okay? And it's not just that time. That's her MO. Like in the Sebastian Rogers case, I told everybody that the vehicle was on the road up above based on those lights that were on the camera there. Chris Proudfoot told me that that's what they were. I looked at it. I could see that that's exactly what they were. And guess what? About 3 or 4 months ago, the FBI came out. They said that's exactly where they were. It was an overlay. So she was wrong again. She's a loser, okay? Technically a loser. And that is it. I don't know what you can listen to whatever the hell you want to do. I don't care. I've given my heart and soul to being a YouTuber for 10 years. I feel like I deserve way more support, and just like we've done so many great things here. But because of the constant barraging and haranguing by this few of these people in this community, and they keep going over and over and over again, of defamatory statements, it's created an atmosphere where it's a struggle, okay? It's a struggle. It makes it harder. Everybody's, oh, that's that gray guy. Oh, he's the guy who's always asking for money on his show. Yeah, every single night, you guys, I try to reach a goal so that my channel can survive and we have money to donate to true crime-related charities. Last month was a terrible month, and I still just said, screw it, and donated $3,000 out of the income to various true crime-related charities. This month is way worse than last month, okay? And so a lot of it's because of these people. That's why I store their information, and at some point, if it keeps getting out of hand like it is, I'm going to have to file a lawsuit. You know, unfortunately, that's what I'll have to do, because these people are relentless. They make shit up, and they go, look, it's your quote, it's your video. Yeah, you took a video. I do 3-hour shows every single night. So you take a clip from one show, and then you take a clip from a show 2 days later, and then you take a clip from this one, and you put them all together. Oh, look at this guy. You know? Yeah, I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything. I know that sometimes I suck. I am frustrated. Just like even tonight, I'm frustrated. You know, like when we had a challenge earlier, we couldn't even get the 5th one. You know, it's like, man, God, back in the day, it would take 2 seconds. Nobody would care, you know, and I didn't have to ask as much. But now it's like every day, soul-crushing shows where I got to ask and just be, God, can you guys help support the channel, blah, 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 blah. And I just get really, really tired of it, you know. I just want you guys to support the channel if you can. If you can't, then you can't. Yeah. Hey, look at that. We got Lisa Belson going for a challenge. You see that, you guys? Right there. She'll donate 5 if you guys do 5 individuals. All right. For some reason, the mods didn't put in look at again. But there you go. We have a Lisa Belson challenge right there. That would be awesome. But I don't really have any other way to make it. I'm covering cases that people don't talk about a lot of times. People don't want to show up because they want to go watch the same thing over and over again on Nancy Guthrie. I don't mind covering Nancy Guthrie, but I just don't, you know, I don't have anything else to add currently, you know. If we get some piece of something or a different angle to discuss, then sure, you know. So can we reach the challenge that we just got by Lisa Belson there? You see that? We need 5 gifted memberships. Then she'll donate 5 all by herself. No thanks, Jeffrey Siddall. No thanks. But yeah, she's absolutely unethical. Jay for Justice. She actually got sued by a news channel because she spent every single day blasting their entire coverage on her channel as if it was her. And then she had the audacity to claim that it was, you know, like what's that called? Fair use. I mean, it was ridiculous. God, what a joke. All right, so how come we're still at 0 on the challenge that we just had? This is what I'm talking about right here. This is the microcosm of it. Yeah, a new one about me again, right? Yeah, what was today's one about? Oh, there's Gray again. Yeah. It's time to get some strikes on these people. All right, there's one by Alley Cake. We need 4 more, you guys. And then we'll move on to the next story. Yeah, and the whole creators of that channel that she thinks is great are like an ex-mod and somebody else that are just, you know, like scorned lovers week, you know, in their mind. You know, they're just freaking crazy people. Like, oh, he didn't want me as a moderator anymore because I was supposed to, I'm going to spend my rest of my life attacking. Yeah, screw you. Absolute embarrassment. Alright guys, we need 4 more gifted channel memberships to reach the goal up there. The challenge that we just had. 4 more actually, yeah. Yeah, there we got one by Skeeters. Alright. So we need 3 more now. Alright, I'm gonna do this other one now. Is that? I think it was January for, yeah, that was right. See how this is what I'm talking about right here. See how it's just a slow slog? Like we don't even know if it's gonna happen. It's bizarre, man. Absolutely crazy. Alright, we need 3 more gifted memberships, you guys. So you reach that challenge here. And what we need is those 3, then when the challenge is met, then we'd need $50 more after that, and then I'll donate $500 to our scholarship fund. We've already given out 20, we're at 24,000 right now. Alright, there's 2 there. Let's see, what are we at here? 10, there's 205, where, yeah, 205, 290. Yeah, so we need 1 more of those. Actually, we'd need less after that. So who's going to do the next? We just need 1 more gifted membership or a $5 super chat. Well, there's Lisa Belson before the 5th one came in. So you still need 1 more, you guys. She was just being like, hey, somebody will do it. All right. And there it is. And you're not supposed to be in here donating memberships, chicken wing. Come on. All right, so there is 5. Right, okay, so 235. 35, 15, 20. I think we need 5 more or 6 more gifted memberships, and we'll be at 350. And then I'll donate $500. Oh, she did 50. Oh, I thought that was 10. Oops. Okay, well, thanks, Phyllis. Usually yellow's 10. I didn't realize that was 15 up there. Hey, Paulette, you don't need to do, if you were helping out, I would understand your concern about it, the numbers and everything. But usually the yellow up there was 10. Yeah. Let's see. Makes me feel better. Yeah, so we need 6 more total, and then I'll donate the $500 to our scholarship fund. So far we've given out 18,000 in scholarships, 18,000 more than the dipshit J for Justice. Then we have 6,000 more that we'll be giving out to currently in the process of applying, and then we're starting to build up another 6,000 for another time, although it's getting harder and harder. Yeah. So if you guys can do that, that'd be great. If not, then I guess we'll have to put it off for another day. And this is for David Gilson, Elaine Tolling's husband. It'll sort of be, in honor of him. Elaine Tolling has been around for a long time. Well, there's 1. All right, 5 more. There you go. All right, so here, this one here I thought was really, I'm surprised I hadn't heard of it before. Ah, well, there you go. Thank you, Phyllis Watson. So how about we do this story, and at the end of the show, we'll donate the $500. $500 more than Jesus for Justice has ever given out of her own pocket in her entire life. Okay? She's a loser. All right, here we go. Disappearance of South Obama boy treated as possible abduction. Omaha police said Monday they are treating as a possible abduction the disappearance of an 11-year-old South Omaha boy late Sunday afternoon. Richard F. Chadek III. I think I was looking for that address. Hold on. I didn't have that. I didn't see that. Of 3059. Thank you, Skeeter. South 42nd Street. Wait, where is that? Right there? Okay, yeah, so he's in the same town, Omaha, here. I guess it's sort of on a highway there. 3059 South 42nd. Yeah, right there. They call him Ricky. Yeah. Let me take that. Put it in here. There we go. Now I've got that. That's what I was looking for earlier. Okay. Let me hit save. Okay. Do you want me to do that? Do it now, and then we'll just do the story into the rest of the. Let's just do it now. All right, we're gonna go to bold. I gotta log in. All right. Yeah, so right there we've given total awarded 18,000. See how that's a real thing. And then currently we have 1,000 in a, we're still building up another 6,000. But then right here is 6,000 waiting to be awarded. So it's already in there. So the total is 25,000 that we have in there. So I think, oh yeah, these are people that are applying. So if I go in there, oh yeah, contribute, okay. There we go, 500 from Gray Hughes Investigates, let's see, from, yeah, Gray Hughes Investigates. Then here, in honor of the fallen freaks and David Gilson. There we go. Yeah, see, look how they always start at 20%. You gotta be kidding me. Just, how about 0? I'm not tipping. I want all of it to, we have limited money. So 500 to... oh yeah, so I have to pick. I do an ACH. Okay, so it comes right out. There's no percentage. So it comes right out of my bank. So you see the total's 1,000. It'll be 1,500 in a couple days. But I gotta fill this crap out over here. wish it would store the bank information. Well, I guess maybe it's better it doesn't. Yeah, I said that. Fallen free says. Oops. Yeah, gotta do the double two-factor authentication, something I didn't do elsewhere. All right. Well, it does say right there, success, your account is connected. Let me hit done. I'm not sure. Okay, and then the next screen is, thank you for your donation. You'll receive an email shortly confirming that your donation is processing. Okay, see that? All right. And then, let's see. I always have to prove everything. You know, the trolls out there, they don't prove shit on anything, but... so all they sent was, thank you for your generous donation to the Fallen Freak Scholarship Fund. Your gift is currently being processed. It doesn't have an amount on there or anything, but you can see right now, see how that's, so far we've done, let me go back. You can see right over here, like these are different ones that we've done in here. So right now we're at, there's available 1,000. So it should be 1,500 in like 3 or 4 days. I'll go back and I'll show you that it made it there. Right? Pretty cool though, isn't it? I mean, we're literally helping kids go to school to get into the world of forensics. I just let Elaine Talling know that. So thank you guys. Wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. It's getting harder and harder because of the winds against us, but maybe someday we'll get back, you know, not have as many, I don't know. It's hard to keep, trolls are just, these people are sick people, you know. I don't know what to tell you. They're just, they spend their entire day thinking about how to get to somebody. Yeah. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Paulette. I'm just saying, up there, you don't need to keep me informed of every, like, you know, I'm sorry I missed the extra 5 on the one. You know, it's just not really, you know, your deal. You know, let's see. Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, the trolls don't care though. They'll take clips of me going, ah, God, you know, because I get really, like last night, I thought it was pretty good, based on how frustrating it was. I mean, it was absolutely absurd. You know, 2 hours of show, you know, 2.5 hours of shows, and just absolutely. And interesting stuff, and it was a disaster. You know, it was weird. You know, and maybe I shouldn't get frustrated, but it you know, when you had a channel that's everybody's been on the same page for a long time, and we're all doing really amazing stuff, and then to sort of almost suddenly, you know, and that's why I feel like it's related to these people, you know, because there's just no way. Doesn't work like that. Yeah, it wasn't. It's just, you know, you're hyper focused on. You've done that. It's the second time you've done that. But no big deal. Thanks for trying to help. All right. I'm just letting you know. You don't need to. But thanks up there, Lisa Belson, for doing that challenge. And everybody, we got to the, let's see. Yeah, definitely. So we got to the number plus $10. So very cool, very cool. Now I was talking about tonight, Paulette. Like you're hyper focused, but you know, I don't want. The show isn't about you. Can we get on to the next thing? Jesus. All right. So here's the disappearance of South Omaha boy treated as a possible abduction. All right. It says Omaha police said Monday they are treating as a possible abduction the disappearance of an 11-year-old South Omaha boy late Sunday afternoon. Richard F. Chadek III of 3059 South 42nd Street was last seen at about 5:30 p.m. at 42nd and Valley Streets behind the Omaha National Bank drive-in facility. So it's like, let's see, Valley Street behind the Omaha National Bank. So where is that? Omaha National Bank. Drive-in facility. The boy apparently left the friend's house. Okay, there was a... Let me go to put the friend's house in there. Okay, is that where that is? Okay. I have a map of the whole thing that was in one article. 56th Street. Alright, so this is where a friend's house was that he was at. Friend's house. Okay, there we go. What are you talking about, Jim? Are you guys interested in this story here? It's like nobody's chatting now. I mean, I could do it another time if you want. We're already dead in the water. Just nobody's talking. I mean, the thing is, you guys, when you guys are chatting, that helps the algorithm. Like, hey, there's people that are interested over there. When you're just sitting there staring at the screen with your, sitting on your hands, it doesn't do anything. It's as if have a dead air show, and so we need you guys to be communicating and talking. Yeah, this is 1986. 1986. The boy apparently left a friend's house at 3137 South 56th Street shortly after 5 p.m. Sunday, police report said. His mother, Teresa, found her son's bicycle near the bank. So that was, let's see, the Omaha National Bank. I think there was only one there. Omaha National Bank. Maybe that's like Mutual of Omaha. Remember Wild Kingdom? All right, well, there's a bunch of them here, but this one there seems like a likely, it's right next to, and there's the drive-in. Let's see. Omaha. What was it? National Bank? I don't know. Right there. Let's see if that's been there. If we go back in the map here. $1999. Oh, that wasn't even there, so that can't be it. Get rid of that. Yeah, that was just dirt in 1999. So 93, it was even still, obviously still dirt at that point. So I don't know where it is. Maybe they'll have... I think they have... There's a map, though, that talks about it. I know it's a life insurance company. Remember that on Wild Kingdom? Yeah, Marlon Perkins, yeah. Exactly. I guess it wouldn't... a bank wouldn't turn into a life insurance company. Yeah. It seems like it was on just before Love Boat and... and Fantasy Island or something. I don't know. That's just kind of my memory of it. Or maybe the $6 Million Man. Or, you know, it was on before something that I liked. I remember that. The boy is described as... Okay, so her mother, Teresa, found her son's bicycle near the bank at 6 p.m. and reported her son missing to police at 8:14. The boy is described as white, 4 feet 3 inches tall, and weighing 74 pounds. He has green eyes and brown hair and was wearing glasses with brown frames at the time of the disappearance. He was dressed in camouflage-colored shirt and pants, a blue vest jacket trimmed in red, and maroon tennis shoes with Velcro-type straps, police said. Police said they believe Chadic might have been abducted by a white man in his 40s with dark hair and a large build. The man was driving a medium to light blue pickup truck, possibly a Ford with wooden sideboards, the same color as the truck, police said. Wait, it says, with wooden sideboards, the same color as the truck. Okay, so the wooden sideboards were the same color as the truck, police said. Not police said. Let's see. How's that one? Anyways, don't worry, Paulette. It's no big deal. I just, you know, it's hard to keep up with everything in there. What is this part here? Missing Omaha boy case treated as an abduction. So authorities say the disappearance of an 11-year-old Omaha boy is being treated as an abduction after the boy failed to return home from a friend's house. Omaha police said Richard Chadek III was last seen about 5:30 p.m. Sunday near a South Omaha bank. Okay, so is it South Omaha Bank? Is that a... Okay. South Omaha Bank. Or is that like literally a direction? A South Omaha Bank. Okay. Drive-in about 2 blocks from his home. Okay, so 2 blocks from his house. So his house is right here. And I just... Let's see. Banks in South Omaha. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was a bank. But it's kind of like that's where he lived, right there. So I don't see any banks that are 2 blocks. There's one, you know, a couple over here, but that's not 2 blocks. I'm sort of wondering if there was a bank right there at some point. Yeah, maybe if we go down to Street View right there. Yeah, I don't know. Jeez. You know, maybe one of these buildings was a bank at one point. Oh, there's a U.S. bank right there. Okay, I bet you that might be it. Oh, yeah. 1, 2. Yeah, I bet you that's it right there. This U.S. bank was probably an Omaha bank. I could see that. All right, let's just put that in there. Omaha Bank. Now let's go look at the map and see if it... let's see if even back... If it's not there in 99 or whatever, then forget it. Yeah, that was there in 99, 93... Looks like there's still, it's still there. So I bet you that's it. I mean, that's really the only thing. It's literally 2 blocks from his home. It seems like that makes sense. And probably has a drive-through over on this end. You know, oh, there it is, right over there. So maybe that's the where the drive-through was, right there. Cool, man. He left his friend's house at about 5 p.m. When he did not arrive home, Chadek said she started to backtrack the route her son was to take home. She found her son's bicycle near the bank drive-in about 6 p.m. and reported her son missing at 8 p.m. All right, that says, police seek missing boy from Omaha. An 11-year-old boy coached just recently about strangers disappeared in Omaha Sunday evening, and police are seeking a man seen talking to him. It was the first time young Richard Chadek III had been allowed to ride his bicycle home from his friend's house. Man, isn't that just incredible? Like, what are the odds of that? Without his mother following behind in her car. Okay, you can do it today, and then, geez, that one time. The key to the case rests on one major clue, a blue pickup truck with wooden sideboards painted the same color as the truck. The truck, possibly bearing Iowa license plates, may be a Chevrolet or GMC made between 68 and 75. 3 days before he disappeared, Richard talked with his mother about avoiding stranger danger. They sent a notice home from school about someone trying to pick up kids, said Teresa Chadek. I made Rick read it. I read it out loud, and then we discussed it. We talked about how to act in case you get snatched. Don't fight it, relax, and try to keep cool. And the minute you get half a chance, run like heck. I hope that's what he's thinking about right now. The man in the pickup truck, seen talking to Richard in a bank parking lot Sunday, does not match the description of the man seen near his school. Omaha Police Lieutenant Tony Mohat said police are seeking a white man in his 40s with a large build and reddish complexion. Reddish complexion. Hey, thank you, my box of tapes. Let's see. And Paulette, if you're out there, I apologize for being. I'm just not in a great frame of mind. So I'm just, if I sounded grumpy or shitty, I don't know if you're still there or not. But if you are, I apologize for sounding like that. I know sometimes I can be like that. I'm just so, there's almost never a day, you guys, that goes by that I'm not like just totally, like feeling the stress and pressure from the trolls out there. It's just they're just so relentless. It's like their life. It's not like other people, oh, yeah, I've got trolls. These guys never give up, man. They just, every day, they just keep trying, doing this and that. And really disturbing shit, Like literally contacting people that have supported my channel. They've got a hold of the charities that I donate money to. I mean, they're just sick people, So I'm always kind of like on edge. It's weird, yeah. I mean, it's weird to have that many stalkers, like just, in a group. It's just sick people. I mean, I showed up to a random live stream today. You know what somebody said? Hey, Gray, tell us about the time that the lady at 7-Eleven did a... what was it? 7-Eleven got out her pepper spray on you. And that's because that was a story I told. Just some random anecdotal story. The lady, you know, when you go to 7-Eleven, the person that rings up your food, she was like on meth or something. It was the weirdest thing in the world. I was sitting there, and I thought I'd already paid, you know, like, and then she goes, she said, oh, your card's not working. Your card's not working. And I said, or your card's no good or something. I go, what do you mean it's no good? You know, you don't need to say it out loud, I said. You know, just say like, hey, you know. And then I tried it again, and then all of a sudden it went through, and she said like, oh, it went through already or something. I don't even know what it was. And then she goes, hey, get up, you know, hey, and pulled out this thing, and people behind me are like, what the hell's going on? And man, she doesn't work there anymore because she was nuts. I mean, absolutely craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like everybody that works there is a tweaker, you know, but none of them seem normal. Yeah, but isn't that weird that you're on a show and somebody remembers that one little thing? Like, wow, what's your... And then they go, I can't find the video it was in, Gray. Why? So you can, you know... I mean, you know what? I know what they're doing. They want to have a clip. All it was a stupid anecdotal story like this one right here. So here's your clip, fool. I mean, Jesus, what a bunch of... That is scary. Yeah, they're kind of like, they're like Candace Owens types, you know, looking into people and, you know, trying to like dox them and shit. It's crazy. No, she didn't spray it yet. She just had it in her hand. I don't know, it's weird. Like I've already told the story before, but it's weird that they remembered it. Like, oh, because all they were here for was trolling. They weren't watching the show. They were trolling probably at the time, and then remembered about it and was like, oh well, let me go try to find it, and then they can't find it. So hey, I just told you the story again. Okay, I actually called the cops too. It was just I don't think I even called 911. Well, I don't remember what I called. I think it was here, and I just said you might want to go check because man, she was nuts. I mean, anyways, let me get back to this. Ooh. Just took up my whole screen. That all right, there we go. Yeah, I hardly ever go on to... I forget. All right, let's get back to this. The boy is 4 foot 3 inches tall, weighs 75 pounds, and has light brown hair. Does it make sense though if he was over at his friend's house and biking there? Yeah, look at that. So this is probably exactly what he would do. He's right there, bikes, goes through this street, right, a main road, pedals down, maybe then comes down to like, well, I guess even from that house he could go from here to Governor Street, then drive down, and then just like right here, you take a left, and then somehow he ends up at this bank here, you know, just on his way to get to his house, like literally right up the street there. And that's the way you do, because there's a park there. I mean, you know, probably a safer way would have been to pedal here and then kind of go up like that, you know, and then just cross the street. But I could see him definitely going down Grover Street and then north. No, I'm not going to cover that case. I think that's just really boring and shitty. The David case with the 4 in the middle. I talked about it one time and it's forget it. Jeez. It's just not, I don't know. He did it, you know? Like what else is there? It's not intriguing to me. There's no like kind of like piecing puzzle pieces together. It's just he did it. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just not that interested. And nobody would watch, and it'll be the same. So it's like, hey, I'll just do what I want to do. All right, get back to this. So it was about a 20-minute ride on his bike, his mother said. He went over the route he would take, and he promised he'd call me just before he left. He called me, wow, look at that, at about 5 on Sunday and said he was leaving. I didn't get alarmed until 5:40. I thought he probably stopped to check out every tree limb and garbage can along the way, like kids his age do. And then I thought he might have had trouble crossing 42nd Street because it's really busy. Yeah, and there's 42nd. So he would cross 42nd, so I think that's probably what he did right there when he crossed 42nd. And then he would just probably let me see how that would work. So he's right down there, probably on the sidewalk, right there, right? Biking. Then there's a light. Then he crosses, and then he gets on the sidewalk over there, and then pedaling this way. And then somehow he ends up over here at that Omaha bank, which is probably now U.S. Bank. So he's just right there on the sidewalk. Yeah, see, it's just not an interesting case for me. And then there's this, probably the drive-through there. See that? All right. Okay, let's see. Over here. Teresa Chadwick followed the route in reverse. 2 blocks from home is the Omaha National Bank. I think that's probably that U.S. Bank. She said back by the dumpster is the back of the lot. I found a bike. Wow, dumpster, huh? Let's see. I mean, it's weird because, you know, it's 1986, so we don't know, you know, it's hard to, I mean, I would think this is the right place. Let's just go up in the air and see if there's a dumpster back here. I don't know. I don't think that's a dumpster. I wonder if they went through the drive-through here. Probably did. Ah, shoot. Hey, let me go right there and then look back over. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this seems like this makes sense, though, right? I mean, that's his house. 1, 2 blocks. There it is. These are all apartments. 2 blocks. There's no other place that's 2 blocks away, and that happens to be a U.S. bank that was there in 1993. Hey, wow, look at, we got Marty's Bar and Grill. He's saying he'll donate $50 in coffee if 5 of you donate just one. One coffee, or, one gifted membership like Phyllis Watson just did. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Giddy Fitty. You sound like you're out of it. Truth about what? What are you talking about? You sound like a lunatic. Yeah, you mean the psychos over there? Yeah, right. Let's see. Thanks, Phyllis Watson. All right, we need 4 more of those, you guys. So I guess I spent, so followed the route, and I guess there was a dumpster with parallel to the dumpster with the kickstand down. The way it was parked, it looked like Rick was going to come back to it. I guess I spent 5 or 10 minutes looking around, yelling for him. Then I called the boy's house where he had been. They told me he'd left. And then I called my dad. He told me to call 911. It's that truck, she said. We have to find that truck. There's a sketch right there. I've read about people who have gone through this, like Noreen Gosh and Teresa Chadek, and I've often wondered how they got through it, how they handled it. Richard is her only child. It's hard to make out that sketch there. Remembering Richard. This is now we're in 19. Oh, that one says 96. Let me fix that one. Let me move that. '96. So we should be on this one maybe. Okay, so I guess this is 1996 also. So I think that's kind of where we're at. Are these all? Yeah, see, these are... crap. I misdated some of these. Let me go back. Fix these. 1996. Alright, guys, we need 4 more gifted memberships to get to the challenge. This is what I'm talking about right here. '86. 86. 86. 86. 86. 86. Let's see. Oh boy. One, two, three, 4. Okay, so I think this is where things go bad. And it says authorities said Monday it was too early to determine whether the discovery of the body of 11-year-old Richard F. Chadek III would yield new clues about who abducted him from a bank parking lot March 23rd. The boy's fully clothed body was found just before noon on Monday. This is Tuesday. In a roadside ditch on the west side of North 168th Street, about 200 yards south of Ida Street. So I did go find that. All right, let's see. It was, yeah, way over here, I think. So this is where he was way over here at this bank. Right there. And then he disappears, and then they find his body way over here. This red line is 200 yards from Ida Street on the west side of the road. And it's right there. Now, this is it didn't look like that at all back then. As a matter of fact, if we go and go all the way to, let's go to 1999. See, that's what it looked like. See, this is a whole neighborhood that's there, these streets. But 1999, there wasn't anything there. And it's interesting because whatever they were doing in 1999, there must be like a specific way that whatever they do here, because literally if you go about like that, and then you go to the picture, I mean, see that darkness, whatever the hell that is? I mean, that's right there. Whatever that is, it's right there. And so, that means that the body is likely, just right where I have that. Close, anyways, right? Isn't that wild? That whatever that is there. I mean, it looks like plowed land or something, or I mean, I don't know what the hell that is. But anyways, yeah, I mean, the mother, I mean, just think how shitty this whole thing is. Homicide investigators went to the scene after a farmer plowing a field spotted the body in weeds at the bottom of the steep ditch. So if you go down, basically right where I have it here, now it doesn't look like that. But there's a ditch right there. And I think if we went up in the air here, as a matter of fact, I'm positive, we go up in the air and we select Google Earth. And we go right down here. Let's see. So we're about right off of, about right in this area. And let's go down to, let's just go down there. And then you look at it, but then you can go to in historical view. And it goes back to 2009. Now look at the difference. Yeah, that's way, way different looking there. Okay, so there's a ditch down there. And he was in that. That's 2009. So I mean, this happened in 1986. And even in 86 it looked a little different too because it wasn't as wooded. Anyway, so you got Douglas County Sheriff Richard Ross said it appeared that no effort was made to conceal the body. He said that because of the steepness of the ditch and the weeds, the body would have been difficult to spot from the road. Authorities said the cause of death was not immediately known, but the boy's death was being treated as a homicide. Acting Douglas County Coroner James Keenan said an autopsy was completed Monday night. However, he said authorities do not plan to make information public on the boy's death until today. Mohat declined to comment on the condition of the body or on how long it was in the ditch. He also would not speculate on whether the boy died at the site or whether his body was taken there after he died. But you guys, did you guys see that up there? We needed 4 more gifted memberships up there to get to Marty's challenge. And we're just still sitting here on the same one that Phyllis Watson put in there. And also, nobody's commenting again. Omaha Police, the FBI, and several other area law enforcement agencies have been involved in a massive effort to locate the truck and its driver, who police think may have abducted the boy. Mohat said investigators will continue to follow their original plan to locate the truck and its driver. We have not determined what direction we're going, he said. It's going to be a joint investigation by the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Omaha Police, and the FBI. Authorities said there had been no plans before Monday to search the area where Richard's body was found. Leonard Parkening, the farmer who found the body, said he and his son, Kerwin, 40, were plowing a field along 168th Street about 11:40 a.m. when and there's another picture as well. Does it look like that? Like sloped? Yeah, it does kind of slope down. See that? That was kind of just like right there. Yeah, except there was different trees and everything. Hey, thanks, Jim Lon. He noticed, they were plowing the yard and noticed the fields, and said they noticed a red object among the trees and bushes in the ditch. Parkening 73 of 16006 Blondo Street. Let me type that in just to see. That's what they used to put all that information out there back then. Blondo Street. Yeah, I would think this would be like his property, but I guess, he was over here. That obviously looked totally different back then. Let's go look. Yeah, see that? So he probably owned like this property or something, and I mean, I don't know. And then maybe he somehow owned some of this. Said he sent his son to get their pickup at the south end of the field so they could leave for lunch. Out of curiosity, the two then drove to the spot where Parkening had seen the red object. As they walked towards the spot, Parkening said they saw something lying by the red object, which turned out to be a book bag. Parkening said at first they thought the object near the book bag was a dummy. I was about to say, watch, they're going to say it was a dummy. You know, watch, they're going to say that. Or a scarecrow. Then they realized it was a body, he said. We got within 10 feet, Parkening said. You could tell it was a young person. I knew right away that it was a little boy because of his jacket. We just thought it was him because there was nobody else missing around the area. The description of Richard said he was wearing a blue jacket, vest with red trim. Parkening said the boy was fully clothed and was lying on his stomach. He said there was no signs of wounds or blood and that apparently no effort had been made to conceal the body. The book bag was about 3 feet from the body, he said. We just took a good look and went and called the sheriff, Parkening said. Parkening said the spot where he found the body is about a quarter mile from the nearest house, he said. Last seen. Let's see if that little tiny bit of map that they got will get us to. So last seen at, what's the name of the street? They have last seen March 23rd, 1986, near Vinton Street. Okay, that's Vinton right there. somehow they had it Vinton going up like this, and then yeah. So I think that's right there. I mean, so Vinton Street's where their arrow's pointing. So I think we got the right bank. He said 168th Street is well traveled, noting that about 10 cars passed by on the street Monday morning while he and his son were working. The body, however, could not be seen from the road, Parkening said. He said the underbrush is not dense where the body was lying, but because the road is about 10 feet above the ditch, it is difficult to see down into the ditch from the road. If it hadn't been for that red bookcase, we probably wouldn't have went out there, he said. Parkening said he and his son lease, okay, so there you go. That's why they have that property. Lease 240 acres. What happened, Phyllis? Oh, the bank. That's right. Let's see. He and his son leased 240 acres in the area and were working the field along 168th Street for the first time Monday morning. Mohat said the discovery of the body could affect the investigation if new evidence is found at the scene. For now, he said investigators will continue to follow the more than 800 leads police have received and concentrate on finding the pickup and its driver. There's really nothing more we can do than what we're doing. Mohat said more investigators may be added to the task force, which is made up of about 50 people. FBI agent, their body was found. Investigators were still seeking, blah, 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 blah. Police used a helicopter Monday to take aerial photographs. Richard's mother was unavailable for comment. Among those at the Chadek house were Richard's father, Richard Chadek. The father arrived in Omaha Tuesday on an emergency military leave. Chadek is stationed at the Army base in Fort Polk, Louisiana. The truck that police are looking for was described as a clean, medium blue 1968 to 1972 Chevrolet or GMC pickup with wooden sideboards, the same color as the truck. Police said a ladder rack possibly was behind the cab. The man driving the truck was described. That seems like such a car that would just stick out. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Thank you. The man driving the truck was described as a white 45 to 50 with dark hair and reddish complexion. I mean, look how much stuff's going on with the car. A pickup with wooden sideboards, the same color as the truck. Police said a ladder rack possibly was behind the cab. He was wearing a baseball cap. And there's another picture. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? But that's that little white object down there, I guess, is where it is him in that picture. And it says, all right, let me go to page 1, I guess. So, shooting and stabbing have been ruled out, possibly cause of death. His grandfather is an ex-policeman. At a press conference Tuesday morning, the boy's grandfather, retired Omaha Police Sergeant Robert Chamberlain, said there's a witness who could probably give us the license number of the truck. Chamberlain said the person's pastor has urged the witness not to cooperate with authorities. What? He did not elaborate about who the witness might be. Chamberlain also said authorities told the family they were getting quite close and they were gearing up for what they called a rescue and arrest situation. This one was actually, I think, well, no. Boy wasn't shot or stabbed. I'm not sure why they're saying that. No signs of a struggle. Pankanonen said evidence indicates that the killing did not take place where the body was found. He said there were no signs of struggle and no weapons were found at the site. I don't think the death took place at the site, he said. It just appears his body was dropped off there. Deputy Chief Charles Serco, who heads the police department criminal investigation bureau, said Tuesday that the exact cause of death is not determined until toxicology tests on the boy's body are completed. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. And then this is where it says, boy's death not caused by shooting or stabbing. We don't know what killed the boy yet. FBI agent John... So I thought strangulation, you know. That's what you would think right then. It just appears his body was dropped off there, he said. One guy was calling in complaining that he'd been stopped 7 times because they keep pulling over cars. Richard was last seen alive on March 23rd in a bank parking lot. What was he doing over there, though? Witnesses told police that a blue pickup truck entered the parking lot about the same time as Richard and that the boy was seen near the truck. All right, then on the 3rd, police say investigation progressing. You know, they're saying that they're upbeat. Police say the man driving the pickup is thought to have abducted the boy. Mohat said the investigators have checked and cleared between 1,000 and 1,500. Wasn't there cameras on the machine? Oh, that was a long time ago. Never mind. Mohat announced Wednesday that police would discontinue the daily news media briefing starting a few days after Richard disappeared. Mohat said several people questioned in the investigation have been given polygraph tests. He declined to elaborate, but said none of the people is being considered as a suspect. The boy's body was not bound or mutilated and was in fairly good condition, Mohat said. He would not speculate on how long the body had been in the ditch. FBI agent John Pankinen said evidence indicates the boy was not killed in the place where his body was found. Pankinen said there were no signs of a struggle and no weapons were found at the site. Police said the man suspected of abducting Richard has been described as white, 45 to 50, with dark hair and reddish complexion. The truck is described as clean, medium blue, 1968 or 72 Chevrolet or GMC pickup with wooden sideboards, the same color as the truck. Got to turn on my do not disturb. All right. And it said, and then, so there was that. Oh, wait. Dr. Likens, Dennis. Not sure what that is. All right. Get out of here. And then that was the 3rd. Then on the 7th, autopsy on Chadic boy released. Preliminary autopsy results indicate that 11-year-old Richard Chadic III died of traumatic asphyxia, which may have been caused by strangulation or smothering. Information on the cause of death, the cause of the boy's death, was made public Monday morning by the Douglas County Coroner's Office, Mohat said. He said the exact cause will not be known until completion of toxicology tests later this week. A farmer and his son plowing a field spotted Richard's body just before noon, March 31st, in a ditch about 200 yards from Ida Street. A source close to the investigation has said earlier that the boy might have been strangled. Mohat said authorities are not near an arrest. All right. And we're still in April 1986. Police withhold some details of boy's death. Authorities are withholding from the police some information about the abduction and death of Richard F. Chadic III, and they say may harm the investigation if it were made known. Omaha, so just like they do now, You got trolls in here again. Jesus, these guys are ridiculous. Oh. what are they even talking about? These people are so stupid. It's just they think they have these clever quips, but they never make any sense. It's weird. These trolls that pop in, you know. It's hilarious. They're such poor writers. They're dumb. Dumb as a box of rocks. Yeah. So anyways, it says right here, Mohat would not confirm or deny that investigators have such information. Sources close to the investigation said there is new information from preliminary autopsy results that indicate, among other things, when the boy may have died. Mohat would not confirm or deny that investigators have such information about the time of death. He said the exact time and the exact cause of death will not be known until the completion of toxicology tests. Mohat said earlier this week that preliminary autopsy results indicated Richard died of traumatic asphyxia, which may have been caused by strangulation or smothering. Mohat said the preliminary autopsy results provided investigators with enough information to create several scenarios about the 11-year-old boy's death. He said investigators are working only on assumptions at this point, and they still have no clear leads on a possible suspect. I think I read somewhere where they think he may have been alive for like days. You know, I mean that sucks. Wow, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Hey, if you missed it earlier, we donated $500. Hey, by the way, before I forget it, might as well put them into here. So we've got our grand total up there, and that will make that $295,612. There we go. And then this year so far, it's $15,000 more than Jays for Justice is donated, because she never does a damn thing for a soul. All right, so we're going to do 15,500 right there. Thank you. So thanks, freaks, for allowing me to be able to do that and supporting the channel. And thank you, Chris O'Connell. Yeah, she's an absolute joke. I mean, I wish people knew the reality of it, you know. Hey, troll community, can you just speak better? If you're going to be the spokesperson for the community, could you at least have better grammar where it actually makes sense? Why would a moron like yourself be the one that's in charge of putting out the message? Jesus. My God. And thanks again, Chris O'Connell. Appreciate it. It's boom chakalaka. But hey, how's it going? Okay, so it says no, and now it says no sexual assault either. So it says an autopsy on abduction slaying victim Richard F. Chadek III showed that the boy was not sexually assaulted. I mean, how would you know, though? Like, if he was alive for days. The story in Sunday's Word Herald, because of editing errors, said the boy had been. Moat said the autopsy indicated that the Chadic boy, whose body was found in a roadside ditch northwest of Omaha, March 31st, died of traumatic asphyxia, possibly caused by strangulation. Police have said the boy may have been held for as long as 6 days. Wow. After he was abducted March 23rd from a bank parking lot at 42nd and Valley Street. So that means when they found him, he had just died, you know? I mean, that's crazy. You know, the 23rd, and then they find him on the 31st. No arrests have been made in the case. What happened? Okay, Chadek. Okay. Oh. Oh, no, that's not where I was going. Right there, 1993 is what I was looking for. Yeah, so this is that article that I was saying that I found, the same one, right? So this is the one I found him in right here. That Ricky Chadek story. I have her down too. Well, that one was solved though. Okay, this is the one that we were at. So this is kind of cool. And this is like a decent map here. 10 years after the abduction and slaying of Teresa Chadek's 11-year-old son, a stray thought of him still can trigger the nightmare of his disappearance. 10 years doesn't make it better, she said, from her home in Frisco, Texas. I get up in the morning and say a prayer every morning. I'm praying for me so that I can live with what happened to him. I want to make the pain stop. On a warm spring evening 10 years ago, March 23rd, Richard F. Chadek III, known as Ricky to family and friends, disappeared. He had just left his best friend Tony Price near 42nd and Grover. We have the address. At about 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. Each was to head home on his bike. What do you mean each was to head home? If he was at his friend's house, wouldn't his friend stay at his own house? He had just left his best friend, Tony Price, near... Okay, so I guess he drove him part of the way, or... I don't know. Each was to head home on his own bike. 30 minutes later, Ricky still had not ridden the last few blocks to his house at 3059 South 42nd Street. His mother, worried that her son didn't come home, found his bike kickstand down near a trash bin at what then was Omaha National Bank, 42nd and Valley Streets. So now it's not that he's indicating the bank name had changed. 8 days later, after a massive community search, the body was found in a ditch at 168th and Ida Streets. He had been strangled after being cared for and kept alive for 6 or 7 days. Man, this story is crazy right here. Yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. How you doing, Marty? Are things getting a little better? 8 days later, after a massive community search, his body was found in a ditch. Law enforcement authorities continued... I mean, he was alive for 6 or 7 days, you guys. Law enforcement authorities continued their intensive investigation, switching the focus from finding Ricky alive to finding the killer. Their efforts centered on an old blue pickup truck seen at the bank by 3 people at the time Ricky disappeared. Thousands of leads were tracked down, as were the Omaha area owners of medium blue 1968-72 Chevrolet GMC pickup trucks. The investigation looked at several theories and developed at least 4 suspects, but no arrests. The case remains open today. This is 1996. For some memories of the tragedy surface frequently even 10 years later. Miss Chadek, who has been divorced since before Ricky's death and has never remarried, says she thinks daily of her only child, remembering... Oh, man, that sucks. Remembering his hugs and his little boy way of trying... I'll go back to that in a second. To sneak things past her. It's when she's alone or driving that she breaks down. Man, doesn't that suck? Her only child, too. No other child to focus on or have grandkids or, you know. Retired Omaha Police Lieutenant Tony Mohat, the main investigator in the case until he left the police department in 1992, thinks about the case every time he sees an old blue pickup truck. Ricky was a police officer, grandchild. He was an 11-year-old child, said Mohat. now deputy chief for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. It was a frustrating case. A plaque outside the bank where he disappeared reads, "In memory of Ricky Chadek, 1986." I wonder if that's still there. That's the sketch. Just a few weeks ago, officers got another lead about a blue pickup truck, a lead like thousands before. It had never panned out. Mohat said investigators have developed 4 possible suspects during the time he investigated the case. All had access to an old blue truck. One of the suspects was arrested on sexual assault charges unrelated to the Chadic case after 36-hour standoff with police at his Dundee area home. It was a real strong possibility, but it faded too. There was no proof. Retired police officer Jimmy Wilson Sr., who became a lead homicide investigator a few years after Ricky's death, said his investigation took him to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he questioned a former Omaha priest. That man led Wilson back to Omaha to another man whom Wilson was able to interview only once. So that was the guy that he said, don't say anything. Wilson would not reveal the name of the man or many details about him. My investigation is incomplete, said Wilson, who passed the case to another investigator when he retired in 1995. I haven't been able to eliminate them as suspects. That doesn't mean they did it either. Beer said several suspects, some fingered by citizens, and the anonymous tips have been investigated during the past 10 years. Police also were left wondering about an anonymous call made to the homicide unit December 10th, 1986, mere months after Ricky's death. Oh man, this is crazy, right? Listen. A male voice asked if he ever considered the possibility that Richard's death was an accident, said Lieutenant John Lohoitek, who then was a homicide sergeant and answered the call. I wanted to talk to the man more. Within seconds of that, he hung up. Police, believing the man may have information about Ricky's death, ran classified ads in the World Herald during the month following the call to try to get the man to call back. Mohat and Wilson both said they had wanted to solve the case before they retired. This is a little boy who had his life taken and nobody's been brought to justice. Mohat said that he wants to see justice done in his lifetime. Miss Chadek said she has learned to smile and even laugh without her son. Yeah, that's the thing. People think that you can never laugh again if something happens. Mohat said he used to joke with reporters that if they see him in a red sports jacket at a press conference, they would know police had the answers, the case was solved. I still have the jacket in my closet, Mohat said, clean and ready to go. Wait, let me go back. I wanted to look at that map. You guys still here? Like, you're fading quick, you guys? I think this one's interesting. Alright, let's see. So we had Ricky's expected home. I just want to see if everything lines up on the map. Okay, there's Ricky home. And then fireman sees blue pickup around, turn around and leave the bank. Yeah, we got the right bank. See that? Right there, that's the bank. See that little image right there is exactly this image. There's the parking area, and then it kind of comes down and goes that way. See that? Ding, ding, ding. So very cool. We got that. Just based on logic, reason, and common sense. Fire station. So I guess right here, this should be a fire station right across the street. And that's exactly what that is. All right, so that means a fireman here spotted It says fireman sees blue pickup, turn around and leave bank. Fireman sees blue pickup, turn around and leave bank. All right, and then a woman sees a truck enter the bank. So this one is right over, like, okay, right here, apparently. So in this location, a woman sees truck enter the bank. Woman sees truck enter the bank from the Valley Street exit. Follow Ricky into the parking lot. Stop and then leave. Her view is obstructed by fence. Okay, woman spotted, car follow. Rick. All right, so let's see if we can go down there and, you know, who knows, man? Maybe there's a fence still there. Turn and no fence then. I mean, this is, you know, years and years later. And actually, man, it almost seems like it's more over here. Like from over here, it would be, I don't think you'd be able to see from where I had it. I think it's probably more, I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. So it's right in that area, and then they have Ricky says goodbye to a friend and heads home on 42nd Street. So he says goodbye to the friend, Grover Street overpass. So what is it, overpass? So he says goodbye to a friend right in this area. Oh, is that what this is? Oh, shit. They rode a bike over that thing, I guess. Right? So he was on this side of the road and then went on this little overpass. Didn't even see that. Look at that. So he must have had to... Well, did he go... Ricky says goodbye to a friend and heads home. I don't know if he went over that overpass, though. That seems like a really huge hassle on with a bike. So, yeah, we'll just put right here. Says goodbye to friend. And then heads home on 42nd. All right, let's see. Then Ricky says goodbye to a friend and heads home on 42nd. Okay, so that's it. That's what the map says there. You guys still here? Yeah, it's a crazy story. Uh, 10 years later, I think we already did this. So now we're going to go to 2006. And then here's this cool timeline. So I actually have that as its own image, I think. Right there, okay. So here's this timeline. So it says at 5 p.m., Sunday, March 23rd, 1986, Ricky Chadek calls his mother to say he's on his way home from a friend's house. The 11-year-old sets out on the 1 3/4 mile bike ride home. Let me see if my prediction was that he went down to that street, and I think I nailed it actually. So let's just go from right here. This is the house he was at, apparently. Maybe they were over at a third friend's home, and I think he went to here, and then I think he, let's see, went all the way down to right here, You know, maybe he was on this sidewalk, and then he crosses over, and he was supposed to go home, which is just right up here. Okay, that's where he was supposed to go. And guess what? 1.71. Okay, so that's 1 3/4 will be 1.75. So we're right on the money there. Okay, absolutely nailed it. Let's see. And let me hit save again. All right, then it so that was one. He was supposed to just go on a 1.34 mile, you know, it was 1.71 mile bike ride from the house he was at to his home. And then at 5:30 p.m., Ricky is seen on his bike in a bank parking lot. So he kind of made it where he should have been. Well, I don't know. That's slow, man. Like, he should have been a hell of a lot further, you know, a mile and something. 30 minutes is a hell of a long time on a bike. Ricky is seen on his bike in a bank parking lot at 42nd and Valley Street, about 2 blocks from home. At 6 p.m. Sunday, Teresa Chadek starts backtracking her son's route to look for him. She finds his bicycle in the bank lot. And remember, it was right next to a dumpster, stood up with the kickstand down. And then at 8:14, she calls in and says, "Hey, my son's missing." That's probably the hardest call anybody can make. It's from 6 p.m. to 8:14. You're hoping, but you're panicking, and then at 8:14, you're almost realizing that the fear that you had is true. Your son is missing, and you called the cops. So I think sometimes that's why there's this gap. You know, like when she found the bike at 6 something, she's still not gonna. You know, because the moment you call cops, you're admitting that something's really bad. And then Monday, March 4th, Omaha 24th, Omaha police announced the case as a possible abduction. Witnesses had seen Ricky ride into the parking lot, followed by an old blue pickup truck with blue wooden sideboards. The boy was seen near the truck, which was driven by a large white man in his 40s. Police release a description of the child, 4'3", 74 pounds, green eyes and brown hair, wearing glasses. And remember, 1984, kids were still able to ride bikes and do whatever, you know. And asked for public's help. Dressed in camouflage. Let's see, and asked for public's help. He was dressed in a camouflage-colored shirt and pants, a blue vest. Green eyes and brown hair. Police released a description of the child, 4'3", 74 pounds, green eyes, brown hair, wearing glasses with brown frames, and asked for the public's help. Dressed in a camouflage-colored shirt and pants, a blue vest jacket trimmed in red, and maroon tennis shoes with Velcro-type closures. The FBI joins the case the same day, pairing, unlike the Nancy Guthrie case, 6 agents with police officers. They go door to door in the area where Ricky disappeared and begin searching abandoned buildings and railroad tracks. Let's see. Then Tuesday, March 25th, law enforcement manpower increases to 20 police officers and FBI agents. Omaha Crime Stoppers and Omaha National Bank offer a reward for information. Wednesday, March 26th, Ricky's family distributes flyers while officers conduct a massive effort to find him. Tips pour in from the public. Business contribute posters bearing Ricky's photograph, etc. Thursday, March 27th, the Papillon Police Department, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and Nebraska State Patrol join in the 30 investigators work through tips. 280 by Thursday, checking Nebraska and Iowa vehicles lists in Omaha area service stations. Friday, March 28th, Omaha police and FBI agents step up efforts over the Easter weekend to find Ricky. 62-person teams, mostly volunteers, try to reach thousands of people who either own pickups like the one seen at the bank parking lot or have a record of sex crimes or child abductions. Then on March 29th, 150 neighbors attend a police FBI meeting for the public at Norris Junior High School. Authorities urge them to call police about anything. Sunday, March 30th, 30 Omaha police officers spend the day at police headquarters tracking leads. Then on Monday, March 31st, 50 investigators follow more than 800 leads. The blue pickup and driver remain on the only solid lead. Then 11:40 on the same Monday, March 31st, not quite 8 days after Ricky disappeared, a farmer plowing a field spots something red in a ditch on the west side of 168th Street, south of Ida Street. While heading to lunch, the farmer and his son drive their pickup to the spot out of curiosity. The red object is a book bag. 3 feet away lies Ricky Chadek's body. That's crazy. And that was from 2006. And then we have one last newspaper article. Oh no, this is just on the web, like right today. One of Omaha's most infamous cold cases is resurrecting. Back in March of 1985, Ricky Chadek left a friend's house, only never to be seen again. His body was found 8 days later. Now, after 35 years, detectives are taking another look. Ricky Chadek was your typical 11-year-old boy. He was into Transformers, G.I. Joes, Legos, and he wanted to be an astronaut, said Teresa Grooms, Ricky's mother. So we had a lot of Lego spaceships in our house. But on March 23rd, 1986, Ricky's dreams of becoming an astronaut came to an abrupt end. It was Palm Sunday. Teresa and Ricky went to church. Then I drove him and his bike to his friend Tony's house, and that was around noon, said Teresa. Gave him a hug and a kiss. Goodbye, thankfully. So they must have put the bike in the car and gave it to him. Ricky was supposed to be home by 5 p.m. And so he called me, explained Teresa. He said, "Mom, I'm running late. I forgot all about it. I'm sorry." I said, "Don't worry about it, babe. Just be safe." It was the last time Teresa would talk to her son. Time ticked by, but there was no sign of Ricky. Teresa started getting worried around 5:30 when Ricky still wasn't home. Teresa decided to drive around the block to see if she could find him. She drove down the street to the bank at the corner of 42nd and Valley. I guess that would have helped if I had read this. I saw his bike shoved back in there between the dumpster and the wooden sides of the enclosure. She got out of her car and began calling for her son. I started shouting as loud as I could, Richard Frank Chadek, the third you get your, the third. Okay, he is a third, right? So it's Richard Frank Chadek the third, you get your butt out here, she exclaimed. Nothing moved. Nobody came out of their house. Nothing. Teresa rushed back to her house and called police. Sergeant John Pankinen is with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office and says he didn't get home. He didn't make it home. Police filed a missing child report and began asking for tips. One of the witnesses did indicate that a boy matching the description of Ricky did approach a blue truck, said Pankinen. He described the blue truck as a blue Ford or Chevy pickup with wooden sideboards. Police checked out hundreds of leads matching the description. The individual that had him in his possession either was a good communicator or gained Ricky's trust. 8 agonizing days later, 3 men in suits knocked on Teresa's door. I started backing out of the room screaming, "No, no, no," she cried. After that, things get a little bit blurry. Ricky's body was found down an embankment near 168th and Ida. Her hair, clothes, and body. This, by the way, this is from WOWT.com. Looks like channel 6. Ricky's body was found down an embankment near 168th and Ida. His hair, clothes, and body all clean. Detectives believe Ricky was kept alive, cared for, and even fed for at least 7 days. Food was even found in Ricky's digestive tract. That's what I was thinking. It looked like some ham that had been fried because of the burnt edges around it. Corn, celery, potatoes, said Pankinen. So it looked like he was fed possibly a good meal, a good Easter meal, or just before Easter. Detectives found physical evidence at the scene. You know, one thing I noticed the mother said in one of these things, she said, she put out a message to the media saying that she just wants her kid back by Easter. And then all of a sudden, his body's put in that field on Easter. I mean, that's kind of weird. Detectives found physical evidence at the scene, hair follicles. They were submitted for testing. What returned was only a partial DNA profile. Man, they got to do this again now. Not enough to enter into the national DNA database. Fast forward 35 years, police are now turning to a private company to take a second look. Right now, we are looking to see if we can progress this case further, said Pankinen. See, this article, though, is from 2021, so I don't know what happened. Detectives found physical evidence at the scene, hair follicles. They were submitted for testing. What returned was only a partial DNA, not enough. Yeah, so now they're trying for something else. Could bring the break in the case detectives need, and Teresa has been praying for. I still don't know what went on those 7 to 8 days, she said. I don't know what other kinds of things he was put through. What did this person do with him for 7 days? And even if the case has gone cold, Sergeant Pankinen's determination to find the killer is not. Just because the person may have passed on doesn't mean that we can't close the case out and help provide some answers. A suspect has never been arrested in Ricky Chadek's death. Police are still looking for any leads in the case. If you know anything about Ricky's murder or have any information which could help lead to Ricky's killer, call the Douglas County Sheriff tip line at 402-444-6000. All right, hold on. We got one more little segment here. Not that, but just a second. Just want to put it in here. It's easier to control it. So this is, hold on. When was this one? This video is from, this is 9 years ago. This video that's here, right there. It's a very small file. Here, let me get it to the...
You know, look, these guys did it, so can we.
Douglas County Sheriff Tim Dunning wants to keep this cold case as warm as he can. The kidnapping and killing of Ricky Chadek happened when Dunning was raising children of his own.
It does hit home, so that when you go home, you appreciate your kids a lot more.
Last week, an 11-year-old boy named Jacob Wetterling was kidnapped from the streets of St. Joseph, Minnesota.
In Minnesota, closing a 1989 cold case came with pain for Jacob Wetterling's mother.
I want to say, Jacob, I'm so...
That's so weird. It's so similar. In this case, there's a bike there. Looks so similar to the side of the road.
Mother.
I want to say, Jacob, I'm so sorry. It's incredibly painful to know his last days, last hours, last minutes.
Danny Heinrich described his crime, how he cornered Wetterling along with the boy's younger brother and best friend, how he singled out and cuffed Jacob in his car, who asked, "What did I do wrong?" The killer says he drove the boy to a secluded spot.
Doesn't that look almost identical? You know?
where he molested him before shooting him twice with a revolver.
I wonder who did it. When's it going to get solved?
Ricky Chadek's uncle spoke with us in March. Like the Wetterlings, he too wants answers.
What did he go through? What happened to him in that time?
I love
Yeah, see, there's that dark area right there where it curves around.
March, like the Wetterlings, he too wants answers.
What did he go through? What happened to him in that time?
I love my son, and I want him home. I want him home for Easter.
Closure came on Easter in 1986 with terrible news. Chadek's body found strangled near 168th and Ida. Still, the biggest mystery remains unsolved. Who killed him and why?
We'll just keep going back over this case, and hopefully we'll find something or somebody will come forward, and we'll eventually solve it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Absolutely crazy. That case is pretty wild. I mean, it's really one of those ones where you just kind of look at and you go, you know, people just, I mean, if he just left earlier, for example. Oh, I'm a little late, Mom. Sorry, last track of time. You know, he'd left at the normal time. If it wasn't the first time that his mother let him ride a bike home. How many times have we heard that in the stories over the years that we've done? You know? I just do cases that I'm interested in. Yeah, so if you, you can always send me a link. What I don't like is when people send me 72 links and they want me to tell the story they want me to say. If you just want to, send an email that says, hey, maybe look into Jennifer Bailey. That's it. That's all I want. All right. Yeah, so he's over at the friend's house at like 5. He calls his mom. Then he and another friend bike down the road here. And then right at 42nd and Grover, they separate. And he goes up here. And then somehow he ends up in this, you know, maybe he just pulled in like this and to avoid some of the street, just goofing around, you know. Who the hell knows? He's just goofing around. So he's riding in, and then a truck follows him in behind, and then somehow the truck leaves, and his bike is found back here. It's a blue truck with blue wooden trim that looks the same color as the truck. And then his bike is found next to the dumpster behind the building, stood up on its stand. And all he had to do was get to right there. That's where his mom lives. But he never made it there. A woman over here spotted that, and a fireman over here also spotted the truck. He saw it turn around and leave. And he disappeared. And then it turns out like 7 or 8 days after his body was found by a father and son who owned 200 and something acres of land that they could farm, and it didn't look like this. If you go back to about 1999, that's kind of what it looked like, just like that. And they farmed this land right here. And then they saw something red in the ground. It turns out that the red was a book bag. When they got to the book bag, they saw it was a book bag, but right next to the book bag was the body of, let's see, I'm on the wrong case now, in my folders here. And it goes by, you know, they call him Ricky Chadek, but Richard, when I started looking up Ricky, I couldn't find certain dates, so I go, wait, Ricky is also Richard. And then I found all the articles so Richard, right? And so he was 200 yards from Ida Street, and on, I think it's 168th, and all they have is, you know, they found his body. Apparently he was alive for 5 or 6 days with the person who killed him, and then his body was dumped there after he died wherever he was, and he appears to have been strangled to death. And they said he wasn't sexually assaulted, but I don't know, I'm having a hard time believing there wasn't some sexual component to it during those 5 or 6 days. I mean, I'm sure if he was allowed to be fed, he probably was able to dress himself again. And maybe there wasn't anything that was, you know, physically damaging to his body that this assaulter did. And they never were able to, I would think, though, if they really preserved his body at the crime scene, that there's got to be a hair or some sort of a fiber, because back in 1986, there was not even a clue that something like that would matter to a killer. The DNA wasn't even a thing. And especially like hair fibers and stuff, they didn't, you know, nobody thought about that stuff. So you would think if he was pristine, there'd have to be some sort of a hair or something on him. And with the technology that they've got now, they can actually identify, get a sequence off of just a hair without the root. That's new. It's a new technology. It costs a lot of money, but you can actually get a DNA sequence just off of a hair without the root. Anyways, are you still paying attention there, Lisa? You seem like you're all over the place. I'm talking about cats. That has nothing to do with this. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was that story over in... I remember that one. Okay, I thought you were doing something. You were talking about cats, it looked like. Yeah, it was the case where... yeah, I remember that one. We covered that. I think that's one of the ones JLR was like, hey, and said something to somebody. But remember, it was inside that camping area. We were able to... had it all mapped out in there. And she just kept riding around, and then he had her like stored in some sort of a... Wasn't it like a camper out in his driveway or something? I don't care. Yeah, cats are just... Man, I can't stand them. I don't mind a couple cats. There's been a few in my life that I like. I'm not a cat person. So when people sit there and just rave and rave over cats, it's just like, oh, really? Man. Name the last time a cat pulled somebody out of a burning fire. Let me know. Let's see. I just woke up and see the gift membership. Hey, all right. You're welcome. I'm not sure who did it out there, but if you got here late, we donated $500 more to our scholarship fund. And tonight was in the name of David Gilson, who was the husband of Elaine Talling, who passed away. And I thought that that would be, you know, I'm sure he was a freak through, you know, whatever you call it. I'm sure the spouses of freaks are freaks, right? Yeah, I think cats are just, like, you know, all they care about is them, you know, taking care of themselves. They never really give a shit about people. And, well, that's not true, Gray. You see, because my cat was really cool. I remember this one time. I don't care, man. I don't care. I'm the grumpy, you know, cat guy. I have met a few cats that I've liked, though, okay? Yeah. No, I didn't ask you, though, if you like cats or not. All right? Let's see. What do we got here? Let's see. Jim is kind of funny when I hear calling the cat and he hides under a car. Oh boy. Yikes. I don't know if you got one or not. But yeah, somebody, I don't know what that case was that somebody mentioned up there. Do this case. I don't even remember the name of the case now. But yeah, you got to send me the name of it. Anybody have that? I can't find it anymore. I don't begrudge people that own cats. I think if you have a cat that you let wander around outside, you're irresponsible, though. I will say that. You're irresponsible for your cat. You're also irresponsible for the native bird and wildlife. And don't go, well, that's their nature, great. Yeah, of course it's their nature, right? But it's the same as a shark. It's a shark's nature, too. Why don't we just throw them into lakes if they could survive the salt water, you know? The fresh water, you know, throw them in there. Hey, screw it, man. Hey, that's what they do, man. They eat people. And if you're swimming around, they eat other fish. And they... Yeah, it's... cats should be indoor animals only unless you live on a farm and you need them for, like, rodent control or something. But other than that, they are basically serial killers, all right? Good, I can respect that. If you have cats that you make sure that they stay indoors, I can respect that. If you're one of the irresponsible types that let them just wander aimlessly around, succumbing to the possibility of coyotes ripping them apart, you're just not really responsible. Well, that's not cool, Gray. I let mine out all the time, and he comes right back with a bird in his mouth. Well, that's what I was talking about, you see, because the bird that it killed, let's say it kills a robin. Well, a robin is a native bird that didn't have a predator like that until the cats were running around. Now, yes, we do have native cats like pumas and cougars and bobcats. We do have those, and lynx, those kind of things. Yeah, right? But they're very few in number. But there are millions and millions of house cats that kill millions and millions of birds every single year. Even hummingbirds, for God's sakes. Can you believe that? What did a hummingbird ever do to a cat? Yeah. They also love to kill birds and other things. Don't just stop with the bugs. My friend said his favorite line from Star Wars was, "Arg, you scurvy bastard, I be your father." I think he had a pirate copy. Jesus. Okay, we have to do with the here we go. Well, great. If you love birds, then never let your cat outside. Okay. I used to have a hummingbird that would come by. Oh, I still do now because I have the thing up higher. But I had this hummingbird. I'd watch it and be like, "Oh, look at that." And one day, my stupid ass neighbors had their little orange cat just around about, and it got up and it just leapt up, and I think he had the hummingbird almost in its mouth. And then it flew away at the last second. Like it just got, And it's like, how come I can't enjoy the hummingbird? You know? Why? Let me ask you something. Would it be okay? Let's say I have these hummingbirds that are eating. And I'm feeding them, and they're trying to survive through the winter. And a cat's trying to kill them. What if I took out the cat? There's something wrong with that if I'm saving the hummingbirds? See, what would PETA say to something like that? You know, I'm saving the hummingbirds from a non-indigenous cat that is not supposed to be killing them. And what would be the ethical way to do it? Now, don't go, well, it's natural for the cats to eat the humming. Well, no, it's not. It's not natural. Maybe for them it feels natural, but it's not natural in terms of the selection. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, of course. I'm just saying, what if that was the only method? Let's say he had let's say a cat had an owl in its mouth. You know, maybe that's my only option was to take it out. Yeah, I know the people. What was the one that was saying? You know the story they always have. These people that pretend. Oh, let me do the joke though. It says, my friend said his favorite line from Star Wars was, "Arg, you scurvy bastard. I bet you're my father." I think he had a pirated copy. There you go. There you go. Luke, you're on my father. Or what is it? No, he doesn't say that. He says, "You're my father." What does he say? I don't even remember what the actual line was. Yeah, but people would complain. You know, that's the weird part is people would go, "That guy he took out a cat. I mean, how could he do?" Well, what about the birds that it's killing all the time? You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Except the problem is with cats, Marty, is that they're not really, they were just introduced here and then multiplied by so many that they just sort of kill birds, you know? Just over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, there's whole species have been extinct on various islands and places where there's a lot of cats. They killed them all. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, animal. You know what's weird is I have 4 dogs right now, or we have 4 dogs, and they're all totally different. Don't you love that about dogs? How they're just completely different. Like Blue, or not Blue. Blue's dead, but he was different too. Like I actually say that Blue is totally different than Clancy, Benny, Gracie, and Chloe. Right? Chloe is this little, just sort of independent, little tiny 3-pound dog that just kind of does whatever the hell she wants, you know, goes outside, lays in the sun, then goes over, walks around, looks up at the fence to try to see a squirrel, and then looks around for the squirrel to show up. And then you got Clancy, who is absolutely, he is so hyper-focused on maybe trying to catch a mouse. I mean, he just sits there. He'll stare into a hole for 20 minutes, and then he calls his name, and he looks so disappointed. But he can really, hey, come here, Clancy. And he gets up and runs right to you. He's very friendly. I think he's a great little, he's kind of a cool little dog that's sort of similar to Blue a little bit, like that. Like just really sweet. And then Benny was a dog that somebody must have done something to him, because he's so, you try to pet him, he ducks. He's always like, but he's getting way better now. He kind of follows you around, and you call him, he kind of comes up and you pet him. If I'm eating something, he jumps up and tries to get a little morsel, so he's better. And then Gracie is totally, that's the Maltese or whatever. She's like, I guess Maltese pick somebody that they, because Chris spent all the time with Gracie at the beginning and feeds them all the time. So it's so crazy. Like when Chris isn't around, Gracie will, like as soon as I walk by, she flips over onto her back, so I'll pet her stomach. Because she just loves that. And you pet her stomach, and then if you start petting another dog, she'll run over and go, hey, pet me, pet me, pet me, pet me. But if you're not petting the other dog, she doesn't give a damn, right? So it's really just about, I don't know, man. And then if I call her, she doesn't really just come over. She'll, okay. But if Chris says, hey, come over, boom, gets up like a bullet and runs over there. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, Blue and, I would say Clancy's similar. Like, Blue and Clancy they're totally different, but I mean, not totally, but they're more similar than the other ones. And they're the same kind, like the short hair, I went back and looked at this old video of Blue on a treadmill with my wife. He literally loved it. He would run right next to her, and I played the music, just the two of us. And he was so cute. He was like 2 years old, just totally young, just looked a world different than at the end there. Yeah. Anyways, I mean, there's a couple cats that I've liked, so you got to give me credit for that. But I'm just not a big, I don't know. They're more about, them being pleased most of the time. It's more about, like, you have to do something for them. And instead, the dogs are kind of like, hey, they want to come please you and do this and that. That's not true, Gray. You see, because my cat... Oh, God. Here we go. We all know what I just said is true. We all know it. Right? Right, Marty? But yeah, at least animals, they just live like what he said. He said animals are the closest living creatures on Earth as far as living their purpose for being created. Right. So they just have instincts. Now, isn't that weird? The whole thing about instincts, right? That like people or animals, they have these things, and sometimes it's inherited. It's so weird. You know, like mannerisms, for example, or a way that you laugh. You know, like I laugh a certain way, and my brother has the same kind of, that little thing that we do. We didn't learn it from each other. That's just sort of what we did. So it's amazing that there's these things that you're born with genetically, that almost like this archetypal way of being, or I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to. It's like the planaria that I was telling you guys about. You know, there might be something to that, like the planaria it's a little worm creature thing that really small, microscopic, but they were able to train a planaria to go through a maze by being shocked. And it was able to go through a maze knowing that, oh, I don't want to go there, I'm going to go this, really basic. And then they got these planaria, and then they chopped up the first one that was taught the information and fed to the planaria that were never trained. And after eating and consuming the planaria, somehow they ingested the memory and knowledge to go through the maze. Isn't that weird? I think something like that's such a crazy thing that is real. Yeah. Yeah, Canary Islands. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about. Yeah, I was just they were doing an experiment. I learned about that when I was a kid in school. Let's see it. Let me see if I did. Let me type that in. Let's do it on ChatGPT just for the hell of it. Yeah, well, it's okay, Chicken Wing. It was just like, there's nothing we can do, and it's just gonna, I knew it would be like something that would consume the whole, like, it's just gonna go on and on. So I'd rather have you just send it to me, and then maybe you can come on and we can talk about it tomorrow. But you didn't really, I wouldn't call it disrupting. It was just I just started going over the first case, though. And of course, that's going to be like, oh my God, and then nobody's even paying attention, so I can't keep going. At that moment, I have to stop because everybody's going to be focused in on that. And we don't have any information. Okay, well, maybe he took his own life then. If they don't want people to talk about it. I saw your email. Or what did you say happened to him? I can't remember what you said earlier. Let's see. Was there a study done with planaria where one was shocked to go through a maze and then was fed to other planaria that ingested the memory and were able to navigate the maze? Well, there you go. See, that's a planaria.
There was a famous series of experiments involving planaria that led to the controversial idea that memories could be transferred by ingestion. CEST, the original experiment.
Eat Einstein's
in the late
brain.
1950s and early 1960s, Psychologist James V. McConnell at the University of Michigan trained planarians to respond to light. How the
Okay,
training
light,
worked.
not-
Planarians naturally avoid bright light.
Okay, it was light, not
McC,
shock.
Connell's team paired a flash of light, followed by a mild electric
Oh, it was
shock.
shock.
After repeated pairings, the worms began to contract when exposed to light alone, indicating they had learned to associate light with shock. The cannibalism experiment. The researchers then took the trained worms, ground them up, fed them to untrained planarians. The claim was that the cannibal worms learned the task faster than control worms. This led to the sensational hypothesis that memory
well, that's
molecules,
different than what I
possibly
thought.
RNA, were being transferred from one worm to another. McConnell published several reports in journals such as Journal of Comparative and Physiological Psychology and became well known for promoting the idea. Why this was so exciting? At the time,
Sounds like
scientists were
it's
asking
bogus.
fundamental questions about where memories are stored. The possibility that memories might be encoded chemically and physically transferred generated enormous public interest. McConnell even joked about the future possibility of learning by eating your professor.
Yeah.
Attempts to replicate the findings.
Eat Einstein's
Other
brain.
laboratories attempted to reproduce the results, but the outcomes were inconsistent. Problems included difficulty standardizing planarian behavior, differences in species and experimental setup, potential contamination, and handling effects. Small sample sizes. Observer bias. By the 1970s, most scientists concluded that the evidence was not reliable enough to support memory transfer through
Okay, well, I guess I didn't learn all that later part, but it was something I learned about. It seems so crazy, and maybe the testing... well, let's see what it says down here.
ingestion. Reviews of the literature describe the findings as intriguing but unconfirmed and largely discredited. Modern understanding. Today, scientists do not believe that learned memories can be transferred simply by eating another organism.
I don't know, man, because I had steak for about 6 weeks, and I felt dumb as a box of rocks. And I realized, well, a cow isn't very smart, so...
However, the experiments were historically important because they helped inspire research into the molecular basis of memory, including RNA regulation, protein synthesis, synaptic plasticity, long-term potentiation. More recent studies in other animals have explored how RNA and epigenetic changes may influence behavior, but these are far more nuanced than the original eat a worm and inherit its memory idea. Interesting twist: regeneration and memory. Planarians can regenerate their entire bodies, including their brains. Some studies have suggested that regenerated planarians may retain aspects of prior training,
Oh, neat.
raising fascinating questions about whether memory-related
Cloning.
information can persist outside the brain itself. This remains an active and intriguing area of biological research.
Yeah,
Bottom
that's really crazy. Let's see. Planaria can regenerate their entire bodies, including their brains. So wouldn't that be... See, isn't that an interesting thing that people... You know, let's say you could take a human being and you could clone them immediately into a full human being. Like literally a photocopy. You go into a machine and boom. Do you have a soul now? Because you have all the same memories, the same thoughts. I mean, that's exactly what it... But you would then diverge. From that moment on, you'd have new thoughts. But the moment you're cloned, like let's say you could instantaneously clone a person. Right as they become the clone, they are exactly the same as you in their brain and everything. But then every memory after that is going to be slightly different, or even massively different if you separate them. But after you clone them, do you think that they would have a soul? Because wouldn't they just be the same person? Or is soul something else? Like all of a sudden they'd be this soulless copy. That'd be kind of an interesting idea for a movie, right? Like you clone them, but then they're missing a soul, so they're just complete sociopathic monsters. Like they don't really, you know. It's weird, isn't it? Right, like it's just part of who you are. Yeah, but it would be the same exact spirit of the person, right? Once you copied them, right?
Bottom line. Yes. A well-known experiment claimed that planarians were trained to navigate or respond to stimuli. Trained worms were fed to untrained worms. The untrained worms appeared to learn faster. But the results were highly controversial. Replication attempts were inconsistent. The scientific consensus is that the original claims were not convincingly
Okay.
demonstrated.
So it was performed, but they don't know for certain if it was. All it made it was did they learn quicker? So that's a little different than, oh, they immediately learned how to. That's how the story was conveyed to me when I was younger, but it sounds like it's not quite as, cut and dry, might even be not accurate. So there you go. Debunking myself. It is a weird thing to think about, but I like to think of those weird things like that, It's, I think it's sort of interesting. Yeah, another thing I thought would be interesting, what about this thought? Let's say you took a human being and they're born and they're kept in a box with no sensors of any kind. It's completely quiet. All you have is the sounds that you make yourself, and you're kept in that box till you're like 20 years old. And there's just food that comes, like a little tube of food. You eat it, and there's maybe obviously a waste area or something. But other than that, there's nothing. So what do you think about? See, that's what's interesting is like, when you're thinking, you think in English, and you put together things that you've seen, and you correlate it and put it together, and there you go. But in this situation, it's almost like I thought it like if somebody's like deaf and blind, what do they do? How do they think about stuff? It's different, right? Because you don't have any visual or auditory stimuli to be able to put things together. It's just sense. So, man, it's such a bizarre thing. Like let's say there was a kid that was raised by even a wolf or something. The wolf kid, right out in the middle of the forest. He's raised by, and his whole life. And then so later on, what are they thinking about? Just getting the next food or something? It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Anyways, didn't seem like that was interesting to any of you guys. So anyways, I'm going to get going. I want to say thanks. Thanks, Sandy, and Marty for the coffee. Oh, you sent me 2 coffees. Hey, thanks. Very kind, very kind. And then we also had, let's see. Hey, I got Lisa Belson sent me a cool email. Thank you. And then also thanks to Sandy out there. On the PayPal. And thank you guys. What a different day than yesterday. Although we're also spent I didn't break even because we spent 500, but at least we got 500 out there and wasn't almost breaking even kind of thing. Maybe 50, I'd say about $100 short. But hey, that's what we do, man. Hopefully, we'll see how things go, but maybe at the end of the month we'll be able to still do something. It might be just, hey, whatever you guys donate on donation night, that's what we're doing. I don't know. It's really, been sort of drastically different. So thanks, Allie Cake. Tonight was like one of the cool normal nights we used to have. But thanks, Allie Cake, Jim Lawn, and we had Joel Burnt, then Allie Cake. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Phyllis Watson showed up and gifted 20 memberships. Just boom. And then she gifted another one. Then Jim Lawn gifted one. Then Allie Cake. And then Joel Burnt, he did a 5 for $5. And that was all matched by, I think, Randizzle Randy, Wild Bill Wassman, Jim Lawn, and Alley Cake. And then we had Randizzle Randy gifted one again. I guess that was the one I just said. Then Alley Cake, Wild Bill Wassman, then Phyllis Watson. Wild Bill Wassman gifted a membership. Jeff Sedal gifted one. Alley Cake, Wild Bill Wassman, Phyllis Watson. Then we had Skeeters. And then Lisa Belson gifted 10. Then Alley Cake. Alley Cake again. And then we had Skeeters, Phyllis Watson, Lisa Belson. I think Tim did a bunch of... He did like $5 in the... those little... what do you call those things, man? The little things that show up on the screen. Then Lisa Belson gifted 5. Then Chicken Wing. Then Lisa V. Then Phyllis Watson. Skeeters. My box of tapes. Phyllis Watson. Jim Lawn. Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 10. And then Phyllis Watson at the end there. Do you guys hate my guts because I'm not a cat fan? Hey, where did Chris O'Connell go? Did she take off? I thought she always like was doing something late. I don't know what that means. Why do I want to show your cat? You gotta be focused in on your... I don't have a picture of your cat. I don't have a picture of your cat. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But anyways, alright. Thanks, everybody. Did you guys find those cases interesting tonight? Wild Bill said he's still in the hospital, but sounds like his numbers are getting better. He seemed like he was doing better. Oh yeah, the coins, that's what it was. Hey, thanks for the 5 cents there, Pork Chop. Very kind of you. Yeah, I thought some of those cases were pretty interesting, right? Totally different stuff like the old days, right, Marty? I mean, I think I'm going to have to just do more of that. I thought that was really interesting. Both of them were. And then we had the crazy case at the beginning with the, if you missed it, the Arcadia, California mayor has just immediately resigned and basically pled guilty to being an agent of China. I mean, what in the hell's going on in California, man? Freaking California. What movie is that from? Freaking California. Come on, who can do that? Yeah, you got to be able to do it. What movie is that from? We are freakazoids. I guess Yeah, I guess a lot of people just check out of the show at certain times. Let's see, they've been busting all kinds of officials and yeah, it's just California, man. The state of locusts. It's crazy. Oh yeah. All right, there it is. That's Kamie's, or Chicken Wings, excuse me. That's Chicken Wings' cat right there. Man, what a weird looking cat that is. Wow. It's like got a vest on and sleeves, a couple gloves on. Looks like it would just rip your hand off if you tried to pet it. He'd go, ah, ah. Yeah. All right. I couldn't just say it was cute or something. There's no way, Chicken Wing. There's no way. Oh, there's no chance. Yeah, you know that cat. As soon as you try to put your hand over there. Oh, it's sweet as hell, other than the 1,700 ripped shreds that are in your hand. Sure, yeah, it's fantastic. It's the greatest cat in the world until you put your hand next to it. Oh, it's so cute, Chicken Wing. Boy, you're so lucky to have a cat like that. You know? When it's not ripping your arm off and all that, it's great. Yeah, well, we have... I used to do the thing with the freak pictures. You remember that? I don't even know if any of these people are still around. I mean, I used to have all the... look at it. Look at these. These are all these different pictures people would send in with stuff, you know? Like a lot of these people I haven't seen in a long time. Yeah. Anyways, all right, everybody. Thanks for being here. We will see you tomorrow, and who the hell knows what tomorrow will bring. But thank you all very much for watching. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Huh? It's a house!
Five brain cells, 4 aren't working.
Yeah, maybe we can do a members-only pet show if you guys want sometime. We could do that. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Thank you for watching Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we cover true crime using logic, reason, and common sense. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Correct.
Evil can never be dead enough.
And some of you, you make shit up.
Good night, everybody. And thank you all very much for the generosity in getting to the goal tonight. Thank you.